I think my view on it is going to surprise you.
Well, maybe I'll get Jay to get mad. I've never seen Jay mad, actually. Yeah, he's always too calm, cool, and collected. So I gotta get.
You have not raided with me for long enough.
I was going to say, you clearly haven't spoken to Jay. He's the angriest person I've ever met.
No, in raid, I know you get a little riled up.
No.
Never. Right, we're live, boys. Hello, people watching. Hello to you guys. Hope everyone's
Hello.
digging. Go. Do you want to? I hope everyone's digging. I've got dig brain. I can't think of anything but archaeology. I didn't know that was a thing until now. Go on, go. You kick us off for a change.
For a change, I mean, where do I start here? We're kind of behind schedule, I would say. It felt kind of bad going like over a week without having a show, but it also feels good that we have the same guest as our last show. So we've got Mage coming back, we've got Willie coming back. Obviously, the three of us are related, and Scott's our uncle or something like that. But yeah, at least the three of us, we're all blood brothers, I think, according to everybody in the comments.
Why do I have to be the weird uncle?
You're the one without red hair.
Tell me wrong.
You do it so.
But yeah, we're back. We usually stream the podcast Wednesdays and Saturdays, so we might get back on schedule.
I think I got Tourette's. Sorry, dig. Every now and again, I'm just going to shout dig.
The other three of us, we all have to say dig to like that week or.
I was trying to comment it, but I've been logged out of Kick, and I don't actually know how to log back in right now.
Sorry, go. Getting excited.
No, you're good. But yeah, we've got a little bit of news to talk about. We've got all this pre-patch stuff to mention and see what everybody's been up to in the pre-patch. We've got raid testing to talk about. How difficult should the raids be? How difficult should heroics be? Any other changes that I've got some questions to ask you guys about that sort of stuff. And I think that's about it. I mean, it's going to be a long show, I feel like. I'm not even going to try to bullshit it like, oh, yeah, it's going to be about an hour show. It's 60 minutes, we're out of here. No, it might go for a little while. So I'm going to try to keep Willie here as long as possible. Mage, I don't care about his sleep schedule. But let's
I was say, Mage, don't care about you. You can leave whenever you want. To be quite frank, I don't know why you're here.
Rough introduction here.
We got to keep Willie here until Willie falls asleep at his keyboard. That's my goal tonight.
At least we know who the youngest child is.
There's digging to be done.
There's lots of digging to be done.
Yeah, we don't end the stream until Scott finds every legendary.
And we'll be here all week. So I just to go a little bit further than what Go said. Obviously, ordinarily we do class of the week, but because there's a lot that we want to talk about tonight, we've called it raid of the week. But obviously that's going to be talking about the beta raids, and the main topic is pre-patch. Viewers' questions. Go. Are we gonna click through some viewers' questions as well?
Sure thing. And then last time when we mentioned viewer questions, we had a lot pop up in the Discord. But the way that it's working, as far as I'm aware, is I've got some questions lined up from last week to talk about tonight. So if anybody posts today, I've already got everything loaded up here for the questions for tonight's show. So if you post anything today and is not covered during the show, then we'll get to it next week. But that's in Scott's Discord. He's got a channel for that. It's in the special media stream section. So join Scott's Discord if you're not already there. Hopefully the link in the description works.
I don't know.
There's an issue. I think there was an issue with it last week. So if somebody wants to test the link to the Discord, make sure that's working. And if it's not, we'll get a proper link for you.
Cool. Well, let's go straight in with the hellos and the welcomes. Welcome back. Let's start with Jay. Welcome back, Jay. I feel like I've spoke to you far too much in the last 7 days, but how are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, you just started talking and I just shut my brain off and wanted to go lie down on the sofa again, but...
It was nice watching you sleep, I must admit. That was a highlight.
Such a weird sentence.
That's a good start.
Yeah. Well, you did say I was the weird uncle. So... Go on, what have you been up to, Jay?
It was fun. Trying to do... I mean, I've just bought my ICC 4 set and wasted 1,100 justice points when I should be trying to cap. That's that. I've just been trying to do everything and get ready for and my move as well, which is kind of dominating all of my time. So WoW has taken a little bit of a backseat now that my liver's recovered and I've got rid of the hangover.
What do you mean by that? Obviously, that might not mean a lot to the people on YouTube that weren't with us on Kick. What's up with your liver?
Well, someone decided that we're going to stream for a couple of days, and by a couple of days, we then added an extra day for some crazy reason, because the first 3 hangovers weren't enough. And we spent like 45 hours with each other over the course of 4 days, which, you know, is strange, but incredibly fun. Like,
it was pleasant.
The pre-patch streams were amazing, like genuinely so fun. Although I never want to drink again, ever.
I mean, we got a lot done, didn't we? Which I'll touch on when it's when it's over to me anyway. Willie, hello.
Hello, yo, how you doing?
Good, mate. So how's pre-patch treating you? What have you been up to since we spoke last? Which, the last time we spoke was the day before the pre-patch, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it seems I don't know what's happened with time. I've been doing way too much archaeology. Because I got the trinket I was after, and I thought, yeah, I may as well just carry on. I want to get the other things as well. I'm like, I'm in too deep now. All I do is I get up and I start digging.
It's really bad, isn't it? It's so rough. Like, you just feel like you're just trapped. Like, there's so much that we could be doing with our time in the pre-patch, and we're running around digging for an item that will probably replace in the first raid for some of us, which is like pretty crazy.
I was thinking about it. Like, I think that the healer one does last a while, but especially the weapons, it might not be as much mileage in them.
No.
So yeah, I've pretty much just been doing a lot of archaeology, sorting all my characters out, just the usual stuff, really.
Have you done any raids during the pre-patch, or any? Have you still been actively raiding? Leveled any alts?
No alts. I've already had everything at level cap, so it's not really much point. I did one raid in the pre-patch, but it's just a raid on my paladin to get some kind of practice a bit and gear up a bit. Most of the raiding I've been done is on the beta. The one on the live servers was just kind of, I was just running about and the mages were killing everything, and I was not really doing anything, standing there. I was in Sunwell gear on my paladin, so.
Wow. Well, when we get to the actual, when we get to the pre-patch section, I want to talk a little bit about all of this in a bit more detail. You know, how the pre-patch has been, and I want to say you was absolutely right, but you're gonna have to wait to see what you're right about until we get to that section. You said something in the night before the pre-patch podcast, and one in particular thing you said was 100% accurate. And if you haven't experienced it yourself yet, then yeah. We'll talk about that soon. I'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Exactly. I'm not telling you till we get to it. But it's unfortunate you was right, because it led to some pain. Go. What have you been up to?
I re-rolled my druid, so I leveled from 1 to 80. What was it? Tuesday by Friday, I was level 80 on a fresh character. I didn't spend the 1750 to race change. I leveled up from scratch and then got geared. I'm like 262 eye level right now with like 5 PvP pieces. So I've got the staff, the 277 PvP staff, 4-piece PvP gear, but I got some we raided last night on NA. Did a full ICC 25 heroic, including Lich King. Did Ruby Sanctum heroic. That was my first 25 for each of those raids, like for Lich King and Halion. So that was pretty sick. That felt really good. And then we went back and did Yogg.
That was hilarious though, wasn't it? Come on. That was so funny, because for anyone who don't know, like the first phase works like it does on retail. So there's no clouds. The ads just pop up on top of the boss. Obviously the whole thing is an absolute joke, but we killed Vezax with no tank from 80%. The Vezax was on 80%, and every tank in the raid died, and we literally just kited it between us, and just it was
I'd forgotten about the Vezax.
Vezax was hilarious. And Colligan as well was I enjoyed Colligan. Me and Char just deleted it.
Reset because it was below 30 seconds, so like heroism didn't reset or none of our cooldowns reset because it was so fucking fast.
Oh yeah. Sorry, go. Yeah, carry on. Yes.
I got my profession sorted to 420, so I need to get 5 extra for my tailoring and engineering, and then I'm sorted on those. I got archaeology to 450. I haven't solved any epics other than like the chest, the level 52 cloth chest, and I got the mount. But like I have discovered the shield. Sorry, I think that's fossil. So I have that discovered. I need to get those things and get that out of the way. But I'm looking for that staff. So I got a couple things left on the troll, but I feel like I've done a lot on that thing in the past. It's only been a week, and I feel pretty good about it. So I was really nervous I wasn't going to have enough time with a 3-week pre-patch, but I think I'll be sorted out by the time launch comes around.
You smashed that druid, man. Literally, yeah,
Dude,
it was so good.
Yeah. Like you and Jay were like drinking, and I was sat there sober for most of it, like grinding. But I feel like I drained myself the same way you guys did. Like my energy level after Friday was just like in the shitter. I was just like, I don't even want to get out of bed. Like,
well, to consider that you started that druid at the same sort of time as we did the goblins, and you hit 80 when we were like 62.
Yeah.
Like you absolutely smashed it.
It was it was a mix of like I was doing dungeons. I was using RDF a lot. I got the heirloom helm and cloak pretty early, like pretty quickly. And then I was just mixing in some quests in between there, and it was pretty chill. Like it went at a comfortable pace for me. And I didn't even realize that there was like a miniature Ring of Blood in Tenaris now, like in Gadgetsan. So that was like super easy XP. It was like 3
Gadgetsan,
I'm
isn't
gonna leave it alone.
Gadgetsan.
That's a new one.
Gadgetsan.
Gadgetsan. What is it called?
Well, surely it's Gadgetsan.
Gadget.
Well, how would you spell gadget?
What did I?
You said Gadgetsan.
Gadgetsan. Fuck me.
Yeah, it's like close enough.
You call me out every time I mispronounce something, mate. So you ain't getting away with shit.
It's been that sort of week, man. I can't pronounce anything anymore.
Well, you leveled really fast, and yeah, I know what you're saying though about like the mini Ring of Blood, and it's actually in 2 parts. You have to then go and finish a load of quests off, and then you can go back and do the second half, don't you? I don't know if you did get to doing the second half.
I didn't do that. No, I did the first 3, and it was soloable, but I feel like it was labeled as a group quest, so it might take 2 or 3 people for some people if you're not like fully heirloomed out or anything like that. But yeah, I like being able to get in there and just smash those 3.
Yeah, but then there is more. Once you work your way through the quest chain, then you actually go back there, and I think there's another. I feel like there's another 3.
It felt like it ended kind of weird. Yeah, I was like, that was it. I was looking for some more follow-ups, but yeah, I just didn't even get to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jay's already touched on like a little bit of what I've been doing. I feel like I've done so much in the pre-patch. Hence why, for you guys that are watching live on YouTube at the moment, there's been a severe lack of videos going out during the pre-patch, and that's because I've just been having fun and enjoying myself and not wanting to like ruin the pre-patch by going, oh my god, look what I found, quick, log off and make a video. It's like, I can't be asked. There'll be plenty of people that will ruin their own fun by doing that. So I've just been enjoying the pre-patch as much as I can, obviously, with the amount of archaeology I've been doing. Yeah, I've done loads, man. Like, literally, I don't even know where to start. Me and Jay streamed together for 4 days, like I already said. We was leveling goblins as a group of 4 of us. So there was Chunk on a warrior, Jay on a priest, me on a rogue, and Flo on a hunter. Pretty much just doing RDF all the way. I mean, big shout out to Flo and Chunk putting up with our shit, because, you know, me and Jay was just getting...
We were useless.
We was just getting hammered, and they were more or less just boosting us, to be fair. But that weren't all we was doing. You know, I've done Nax, I've done Alduar multiple times, I've done Onyxia 10, 25 multiple times, done ICC 10 on like 3 characters, ICC 25 heroic on 2 characters, RS 25 on 2. Like, you know, we've been doing loads, even like just doing a couple of, you know, gammas and stuff like that for people. We've just been, and then on top of now being 720 solves deep in archaeology. But yeah, like literally just a bit of everything. The thing is, I've been completely addicted to raiding during the pre-patch, and I think for anyone who knows what my sort of main ult is, you'll understand why. playing a fire mage, I just I start getting a little weird itch, and I'm like, I need to go and hit something. I need to log on and press combustion. So there was a clip of we was doing an all to R10. Why was we doing it? I think we was doing an achievement run. In when the first couple of nights pre-patch went live.
We were trying to test to see if you could get a 310 mount after pre-patch went live, and if you'd still get 310. That's
right. So we needed to do Vezak's hard mode for someone. And there's a clip on Kick of where I'm talking to the stream while we're doing it, and I'm like, get in the black puddle, and I'll just do a little combust, and then by the time we're ready to burn the boss, when the animus comes out, I should have combust back. I press combust, and you just watch the boss go 100%, 80%, 60%, 40%. Literally, I nearly killed it with one combust. I've had so much fun on the mage that all I've wanted to do is just make sure that I'm doing every raid. That's why I've been doing Nax. I've been doing everything, because it's just, don't get me wrong, the Rep Paladin's been fun as well, but going on the Mage has just been very addictive. And that's it, really. Yeah, I've been doing everything, literally everything that everything that I said I was going to do during the pre-patch when I put that video out saying, going to level an ult, going to raid, going to do archaeology, going to do professions. I've literally done everything that I said I was going to do, and I'm loving it. When we get into the pre-patch section, I'm going to make it quite clear why I'm upset that it's only 20 days, because I could probably do this for about 6 weeks, to be fair.
All right, on to the news then, yeah? Got that out of the way, because I'm itching to talk about our main topic, so...
Yeah, let's go. News.
Mm-hmm. Where did you want to start with the news?
Archaeology fixes first, if you want.
Oh, like the one from today?
Yeah, the most recent posters. I mean, we're going to probably spend a lot of time talking about archaeology, so...
All right. A few minutes ago, we deployed hotfixes to address issues with Dwarven and Night Elf archaeology projects. The following projects are now available during the Cataclysm Classic pre-patch. I didn't even know they were called projects. Is it? Sorry, off topic. Dwarf. You can now get a whole bunch of extra stuff. Night Elf, you can get 5 extra things that you couldn't get. I think if you leveled up archaeology the first 2 days, you might have had access to these things. And then they did a little hot fix there to limit you from being able to get dig sites in the new zone, the new Cata zones. And then that screwed you from being able to solve these. And then now they finally added them back in. I think that's what happened. And then they also added at the bottom. We also double checked on the, how do you say this one?
Pterodax hatchling.
Pterodax hatchling. It found it waiting as intended in fossil dig sites at archaeology skill level 525.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I say we already knew that, the majority of us already knew that I've been answering the same question over and over again when people are coming on the stream, is the Pterodax hatchling bug? But yeah, that's always going to have been 525. Yeah.
Unfortunate. Can't clear out fossil. But I guess you can save them up for the official release, get 525. Solve all the Nelf ones, and then Olvia roll away, I guess.
I'm not sure I'd ever get my archaeology to 525. I don't think it's ever going to go past 450 after this pre-patch.
You get the items, and you're okay, but done with that then.
Yeah, I'll see you in MOP.
Yep.
Next news post. Just quickly, I know this is completely irrelevant, really, so we won't spend any great deal of time looking at it, but this does sort of go back to what I was saying about, really being addicted to playing my Fire Mage during the pre-patch, and I think looking at the DPS rankings sort of shows why. The one thing I didn't notice is how good Arcane was doing as well, actually, because I've not really done anything other than Fire in the pre. When I say how well it's doing, it's second, but quite a way off. What do you guys think about DPS in the pre-patch?
Is that the right screenshot? Because there's only one blue bar there. I don't see a second DPS blue bar anywhere. Oh, there we go. You got it on the screen now. Okay, you just had to go really far down to get to enhancement shaman.
There was just no need for that, was there?
Harsh.
I can self-deprecate, but when you start, it's mean. It's bullying.
Yeah,
my bad.
Fire mages, mages, they've kind of got all their good stuff now. In Cata you get, what is it, Time Warp, which doesn't matter if you have a Shaman, you get Flame Orb, which doesn't do that much. And right now you have a lot of crit, and Combustion seems kind of just overtuned somehow. So, yeah. And there's other specs, like Ret, for example, though, they don't have Inquisition, so it's minus 30% holy damage. And I think they're a bit more, yeah, no, there's some other specs that are more reliant on Mastery, which you can't get that much of. So it's a bit all over the place right now.
Yeah, I was shocked to see Warriors so low. Like I thought that Warriors at the end of the expansion were like kings, and then I guess because of their mastery or something like that, they're just not too high on the meter. They're still there, but it feels good to be above them as a balance druid.
It'd be a Colossus smash. There's no more armor pen.
Ah, yeah, the armor pen.
And they don't have that, so that's a bit of a struggle for them.
I've enjoyed watching sub rogues. I've done a couple of raids with sub rogues now, and yes, assassination is outperforming it, but you know, sub rogues are actually pumping, and that's a good thing to see, because I'm quite an advocate of sub rogue in Cata, even though it's one of the, I'd probably say the most difficult spec to play, actually, if I'm completely honest. But you know, I like the fact that we're seeing people playing it even now in the pre-patch. So
yeah.
It's just kind of well, not embarrassing, but you know, when you look at the meters when we was like raiding last night, and it's like you got the 3 fire mages at the top, and then it's quite a big old drop before you then see another class, isn't it? And it was, yeah, and it's quite cool as well. Like I was enjoying it, because obviously my gear on the mage, I'm using spirit gear still. Like I'm not BIS, you know, I've only had that mage for a couple of months, but it's all about combust. You know, the riskier you play, the cockier you are, which obviously suits me down to the ground. It don't really matter. You can be out-geared by another mage and beat him on the meters just by having a better combust. I love it, man. How do you feel, Jay, playing the enhancement shaman? I mean, they look like they're doing well. They're beating the tanks.
Barely. I mean, Blood DK DPS, I think if they tried hard enough, could beat us. No, it's fun. Like, the thing is that, like, it's not pulling the numbers right now, but in terms of playing, like, the spec just feels really good. Bursting, like, hitting a boss for 50k with Lava Lash just feels amazing. And going back to, like, actually having Wind Fury and just seeing 17, like, instances of damage on pull is amazing. The spec feels great. I just wish it did actual damage yet at the moment. It'll do better soon.
It felt good when I would see after a boss fight, I'm like, man, I'm like 15th on the meter right now. And then I would scroll down further. And I'm like, oh, well, I beat Jay. He's 17th. So,
well, with what Candle's saying in chat, just to address that, I mean, like, I do agree with him saying, you know, some of these rankings are be outdated. But when we're looking at the top, let's say top 5 or 6, it's fairly accurate to what I'm seeing in every raid. Rep Paladin being that low, no. I mean, I've raided, I've done ICC 25 rank on my Rep Paladin, and the only things that I was getting beaten by is, yeah, okay, maybe rogues, fire mages, but then I was battling everybody else for the next spot. But obviously I play my Rep Paladin differently to what all of these wellhead guys and shit say, because it's common sense, but, you know, whatever.
The other things to remember is, actually, I mean, something I've just thought about, but look at the classes that, like, use other gear set, like other gear pieces, right? So, like, Fury Warrior, a lot of their BIS pieces are leather, or were leather prior to pre-patch. Rep Pally, I know they had a couple of pieces that they use leather. Enhancement Shami, basically our entire set other than tier pieces was leather. It's only today where I've actually replaced my final leather piece. So I've been missing out on like 140 agility, which is like an extra piece of gear that I just don't have.
Yeah, I dropped loads of. I dropped a massive item level on my Rep Pally, you know, from the day the pre-patch went out to actually going in the raid, where I was chucking away 277 pieces for like 264, because that was like the best that I had that was actually plate. Felt pretty bad, but yeah, I mean, I think that's not a fair fair picture of what Ret's actually doing, because as I say, mate, if I was bottom of the meters on my Paladin in raids, it would be fully retired until Cata launches. But yeah, that's not the case. As I say, the only things that I was struggling to beat was fire mages and assassination rogues. Everything else was like, yeah, comfortable.
All right, we got the resilience got fixed. The first week of the pre-patch, resilience just wasn't working, so you were just blasting people. They had their PvP gear. It didn't really matter. They weren't doing as much damage as you would do if you had your full set of PvE gear. So it kind of made sense to just straight up try to nuke people that first week, and then it finally came out. Resilience is now supposed to be working as intended.
I've not done any PvP. We tried doing it on our goblins. We were leveling and couldn't get in any because it was broke where people was going from 10 to 70 in one Warsong Gulch win.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, I remember reading about that.
So
it's like
is that still
comes out?
Is that still broken for everyone?
What's that?
No, I'm not
the
sure.
BGs, because
I
know that on my I know on my priest I still can't get into a BG.
Well, I mean, we tried for like 4 days, Jay, and we couldn't get in at all, could we? So I don't know, maybe either people are not queuing or whatever. But I mean, that was hilarious when pre-patch went live and goblins were going in, you know, at like level 15 and then coming out at like 70. And I saw screenshots of like, you know, the actual scoreboard in a BG, and you'd have like level 10 warriors in there with like a 71 priest or something.
Yeah. Who needs to buy a character boost when you can just do one Warsong Gulch?
Yeah.
How does that
crazy.
happen? It's pretty funny though.
Yeah, I just don't know how it happens. I mean, that sums it up for me. Like, how does that physically happen?
It happens when you don't test something. If they would have tested that, maybe on the beta or something, then it might have been found. And then they could have been like, oh yeah, maybe we should fix this before this goes live.
Yeah, I mean, we did see a lot of things on the night of pre-patch go live that didn't exist on the beta, though. I mean, let's face it, pre-patch launch night was worse than the beta's been since it launched. I was worried. We'll talk about that more when we get into the main topic, though. Let's try and keep it relevant on news for now. Anything else on them hot fixes that you want to talk about? Oh, Willie, you wanted to mention about legendaries, didn't you? The reforging, not reforging, transmog.
That's why. I just noticed this morning you can transmog your weapons to legendaries now in Cataclysm, which didn't exist back in the day. I don't think they enabled this till, I think it was either Legion or BFA. It was quite a while away. But yeah, now if you have a Thunder Fury, a Thoridal, anything like that, you can keep that appearance. You should even be able to have 2 Thunder Furies, or a main hand and offhand, I think. Because it's not strictly a main hand weapon, is it? I think it's one-handed.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's a bug. I'm going to have to go and do KT at some point in Tempest Keep and just see if you can get any of those transmogs. Because, you know, Enhanced with Chamois don't actually get legendaries ever, so we don't get to have fun.
Well, Boomies have one, but it's a two-handed mace, so I don't think.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna wear a two-handed mace to transmog into hand a rag or anything.
I feel like those items tradable.
I don't think they are.
Because
I genuinely don't know.
The whole criteria for transmog is that an item becomes soulbound and you learn the appearance. So if they're soulbound, that maybe.
I feel like that needs to be tested.
I was just laughing at Scott's comment because that's the first time I've read this. That's how I've been playing. I've not been reading blue posts, but yeah, at the end of it, in anticipation of community response to this change, we've also added a pitchfork. I mean,
that's funny. Like, that's old Blizzard funny.
It is. All right, cool. Yeah, everything else there, just general bug fixes, which obviously we expect to see anyway. And the other one's Darkmoon Fair. So, in a hotfix earlier this week, Blizzard announced that Darkmoon Fair will not be coming to town during Cataclysm Classic pre-patch. Instead, the event will make a return sometime after launch. Now, obviously, the game launches on the 20th. And we're all kind of expecting like raids to open on the 30th. Would kind of be my guess. It would be the Thursday global launch on the 30th.
Normally 10 days, right?
Yeah. So yeah, around that.
Yeah, thereabouts.
But we're not gonna have. I can't filter Darkmoon Fair. I can't see it. But we're not gonna have Darkmoon Fair until I can't actually see it on the calendar now. Has it been removed from the calendar in game completely or
I
something?
think it was because it was like 3 weeks after launch or something like that.
I know we was not gonna be able to get trinkets before we went into raids. That's why we was doing the beta testing, the raid testing without Darkmoon cards, because we just assumed that we're not gonna have them. But I mean, this is something. There's a lot of content there in Darkmoon Fair. I mean, I haven't been on the beta much during the pre-patch outside of raid tests. But am I right in saying that Darkmoon Fair's not been tested on the beta? Or has it, and I've just not been there and done it?
I haven't gone to look, but I haven't heard.
Because it's a big change. Yeah, it's a big change. There's a lot of quests. There's a lot of vendors. There's achievements. There's some items that we're already getting as well, which are a really good way to level alts, by the way, or to like skip a level. Where you loot the items that you hand in at Darkmoon Fair, and I've had a few of them while I was leveling the Goblin with Jay. But yeah, it's like, again, something that I would just have expected to at least been tested a little bit on the beta, just because of how much of a change it is. Because you can bet your bollocks to a barn dance it ain't going to work when it goes live.
I've gotten a couple of those items because I was farming Cathedral for some silk cloth, and the last boss has a chance to drop them, and I have like 6 of them in my bank now. And you turn them in for like 10 tickets or something like that. But I don't remember those being like farmable to like stack up and be able to turn in like 15, 30 of them.
No, you can only hand in 1 of each. So there's like 6 or whatever. Well, you get like 1 from PvE, 1 from well, there might be multiple from PvE, but you can get some from PvP. Yeah, there's like all from various activities, and each character can hand them in. I think it's just once. I don't think it's like once per Darkmoon Fair. It's literally just once, and then you get the achievement for handing all of them in. But it's a good way to get all of them. Like when you hand cloth in, to get some easy XP. Let's say you're 57, you want to get to Outland, you can't be bothered to quest. You just go around all the cities and hand your cloth in. This is another way. If Darkmoon Fair's there, you can go and hand all these in as well that you can just buy from the auction house. So, but I mean, I've not got an issue if it launches and. Like, the one thing I will give them credit for, I've been complaining a lot about Blizzard around Cataclysm, lack of communication and, lack of effort and all of that. And yes, like, pre-patch launched in an absolute state. But they did kind of turn it round fairly quickly in a couple of days. But then I also have got complaints about that because they could have done that on the beta.
Yeah.
That's my argument
about it. Yeah, same.
But they are paying attention. They're doing things. They're making sure it's in a decent place. But there's just a lot of things that we need like answers to, things that are not currently working. Things that the thing is, people don't know enough about Cata. And don't get me wrong, even me, I'm having played multiple private servers and all of that. I'm still finding things out where I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that was a thing. So it's not like, oh god, I know everything. But there's certain things that are just still not working and no one's talking about it. Like rocket boots, just as an example. Like, engineering is going to be fucking useless for tanks unless they fix that. Because they're not overloading in the way that they should overload in Cataclysm, where you take the damage over. Well, they're not for me. I can't speak for everyone. Like, they may have fixed it and I need to reapply rocket boots or something like that. But they're still firing you up in the air, which is... Obviously, that's wrong.
I know that only because I watched Chunk nearly die to it and I was laughing at him at the time. I know for Chunk it overloaded correctly and did the damage over time instead of knocking him up in the air. That was in a raid though. Yeah,
so maybe it's working in raids, but out of raids it's firing you up in the air. In raids, I've not used them in raids because I was shit scared to use them in raids. So that that could make sense if it's doing it out of raids. It's blowing you in the air. In raids, it's giving you the dot.
Yeah. I also have seen them, like, they have been failing a lot as well, though. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people using them and it's failing a good percentage of the time. Like, it's not 1 in every couple, it's like half the time it fails.
Yeah, well, that's why, like when I had a Defile on me, for example, on Lich King, there was no way I was using boots. Like, absolutely no way at all. And that's the thing. Like, they are going to be unreliable, but they're going to be unreliable if they knock you in the air. That was why I was scared to use them. But if in raids they are actually putting you the dot on, then that's fine. That's cool. They're worth using. But imagine getting knocked up in the air with a defile underneath your feet, and you're just slowly falling down to the ground. Like,
yeah. Did you get knocked in the air and the boss evades and goes back to full health or something?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You'd be so mad, wouldn't you?
It'd be a disaster.
So, all right, it's good to know that they are working in raids anyway. Like, that's cool. That's fine. Yeah, that's it for me, news-wise.
Yeah, well, there was one more news thing I wanted to talk about really quickly, but we got our first super chat of the night from Maddie Ice. What's happening, everybody? I hope you're doing well. This sounds like a Mage intro to his videos. Like, I hope you're all doing well today. And then the question is geared towards him, so maybe that's where he's getting this from. I just have a quick question for Jay, if he could be so kind. Have you found any sources of spirit at 85 that might make elemental precision worth the 3-point investment? And I think I brought that up to you, like, while we were doing one of the shaman episodes. Like, would that ever be worth it to spend those points there?
I believe every spec is planning on taking that talent. Resto takes it if you're planning on going for the Restonement spec, because you're obviously going to have a lot of spirit anyway. But yeah, Elite and Enhance, it's worth taking. As Enhance, I would never want spirit, just because it doesn't really offer you anything outside of the hit rating, so you may as well just have the hit. But for Elemental, I actually prioritize Spirit over hit. So, and the other nice part is if you get a piece of gear that has like hit mastery on, for example, you could reforge the mastery into Spirit, and you're getting a lot more hit value out of that one piece of gear. So there is a lot of use for it. You can really take advantage of that, and almost every spec will take that talent for damage as well.
Cool.
All right, and the last news article I wanted to talk about, it's 2 below if you were going off of Wowhead. It's the Wrath of Lich King PvP gear discounted by 66%. So me leveling up a fresh, brand new Troll Druid, I took full advantage of this. By the time I got up to 80, this change was already in effect. So I went to Wintergrasp. If you do the Wintergrasp weekly quests, they give like 350 honor, which is pretty much one piece of your like 4 set, like your 2 or 370, I think it is, eye level PvP gear. And then the weapon is like 550-ish honor, and at 277 eye level, like I got the staff really, really quick. I was doing AVs. It's the Drek and Keck meta, so it's like a 5-minute game. Either Alliance is going to smash it or Horde's going to smash it. Queues were really quick. Like, it's been really fun doing PvP to get to the easy eye level. Yeah. And then like just to get into gammas, like to get the eye level requirement, I think it was 210 or something like that. I might have just been saying 300 something, but yeah, 210 for the gammas. It was, I got that in no time, just doing a little bit of PvP.
Yeah, PvP is the way to go for sure. I mean, as much as you'll hear, it's the gear upgrades in Cataclysm and stuff are huge. If you're on a fresh 80 or a boosted character, it probably doesn't hurt to get a few pieces. And yeah, just go to a Wintergrasp. If AV's the weekly battleground, that's great. There's also a few daily quests in Grizzly Hills, which give, I think, 50 honor a piece, which are pretty easy to get done as well. And yeah, you can just get a few 100 points, buy yourself some 277 weapons, some 270 armor, and it's pretty good. I'd definitely do that if I wanted to gear a bit on a new character.
Yeah, my eye level was pretty high, but I was not on the damage meters. It wasn't very reflective towards the other Boomy in our raid last night.
Yeah, it's still going to be a bit of a disaster, but it's better than nothing.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to take advantage of that myself, because assuming I get enough time, my plan is actually to be going into Cata on a fresh paladin, not my main paladin. So once the Archaeology nightmare is over, I'm going to be leveling a paladin with Jay, hopefully, or at least we're doing some together, so I can get like maximum, quest stacking ready for 80 to 82. And then I'm going to have 2 paladins anyway, so it's like, it kind of don't really matter, does it? It's like, yeah, my paladin at the moment's got gear, but it's all going to get replaced, so what difference does it make? So yeah, getting some PvP gear on the cheap sounds good to me.
And then,
I mean, if you have the commendations, are they still bind on account?
I'm not using them. I'm saving them for 85.
yeah.
I was going to say, but like if you're running out of time, chuck a couple of them on, like 5 of those, and you can get a good couple of pieces of gear to get you started.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd go in bloody full heirlooms. I don't really care. I mean, think about the amount of characters we've leveled on Cata servers, Jay, with none of these little luxuries of actually being geared.
Yeah, I've done it as resto too many times, which is weird and annoying, but I'm probably going to have to do that again on a freshly geared like a freshly dinged resto character trying to level, which would be hilarious.
So the off pieces were still a little bit higher. I don't remember exactly how much those cost, like your bracers, your cloak, your neck, your ring. Those were a little bit higher than like the tier set or the PvP 4 set and the staff, like the weapon. So like if you're going for those pieces too, like I just went for the gamma spamming, and I would use my Scourge Stones for those slots instead of like PvP gear, and it was super quick.
Well, that's the other thing as well. We're still on double Scourge Stones at the moment as well, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, like, even if you just transmute them into, or transmutate, whatever you want to call it, them into the Sidereal Essence, you can pick up like 239 gear very, very quickly. Like 2 gammas, and you might have a piece of gear already.
So, just a brief one go for you. Obviously, you was up until pre-patch still raiding and, well, PvP and mainly on SOD. Have you logged on at all during the pre-patch?
SOD, I don't remember. Whenever that 50% damage debuff was in, I played one AB. That might have been 2 weeks ago at this point, and I haven't logged in with this new change. They have like a 20% damage reduction for melee, 30% for casters, and your first 10 seconds after you're in combat, it's like a Mortal Strike debuff on you or something. So I haven't done that, but I was watching another Bounce Druid. Shout out to Lubes, the homie Lubes, and it seemed like it was like AB was pretty chill. Like he was critting like 2.5k star surges. Like I didn't really see the effect of the healing debuff on there, but it seemed like it was kind of a decent change. Like the only gripe that I had with that whole thing was just getting my mana back. Like the water in SOD is such a fucking headache. Like just trying to sit there and drink 3 things of water for a minute and a half to get my full mana bar back. Having to spend extra mana to kill people using more mana for getting through their health pool with a damage reduction. Like it sucks to regen the mana. That's all.
So you've done one battleground since that was all. I just wanted to get sorry, no, mate. I got to be honest with you.
I can elaborate. I can elaborate further too. So it was because it was a 36-minute queue because I queued solo. If you queue as a group, it's like a 5-minute queue usually. So I don't know why it's like 5 times longer if you're queuing solo. They hate fucking solo play in SOD, and I can't stand it because that's how I play the game. So that's why I haven't been playing it that much. Group. Yeah. I feel like I'm forced to group.
No, that's fair. So have you just done one battleground of you since pre-patch launched?
Yeah, because it took over an hour for me to get the queue, do the battleground, and then like exit the battleground. So like I 11 o'clock at night, I queued up. I wasn't out until past midnight. So I was like, well, there's my night. Like I got to go to bed. I got work in the morning.
Do you ever instantly regret a question? Do you ever instantly regret a question when you ask it?
Hey, you never ask me questions. Well, rarely ask me questions. So when you do, I'm gonna. Hey, I got excited. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna drag this shit out for as long as I can. Cool. All right. News. Happy? Should we move on?
Yeah, I got the viewer questions here.
Viewer questions. Let's go.
You want to pull up your Discord or just have our cameras on the screen, whatever works for you. But I started with Ballast. They asked if someone is an achievement whore and did all the quests prior to Cata, is it possible to do dailies instead of instead of Catalan? Wait, sorry, I butchered that last part. Is it possible to do dailies instead of Cata launch, or do they just give gold, not XP? No, they just the wording there was kind of weird.
Yeah,
but
so yeah. I know
It
what
was
you're
answered
saying.
in the Discord, but I think it was a great question to bring up.
Well, you'll have
dailies
loads.
are still...
Go on, Jay. Go on.
Sorry, the dailies are going to give XP as well as gold. Like, they do start rewarding XP. It won't be as much as you could get from all of the different prep sources that you could do otherwise. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do some quest prep, then dailies are a good option if you've done everything else.
But the thing is, when pre-patch went live, you instantly, like everybody, no matter whether you got Lore Master, 100% completion, no matter what you've done, you're also going to have had, like, I don't know, 15 maybe quests added to dungeons. So they're going to be the highest amount of XP that you can get from any single quest anyway. They're like, I don't know, don't quote me on this, like, because I've not done my quest stacking yet because I've just been doing archaeology. But they're like 44k each, I believe. You know, and you can get like 5 of those just between Halls of Lightning, Halls of Stone. You know, then you start throwing the other ones in if you haven't done Battered Hill. You know, there's tons. Yeah, just the fact that when the dungeons are added, the quests are added to the front of the dungeons, it gives you a lot. Stark saying in chat you can get like 20. Yeah, I was trying to be a bit conservative, saying like 15, but so like getting all your dungeon quests done, like number 1, you know, Utgar Pinnacle, having all your quests done in there, Old Kingdom, yeah, all of that, you know, so you haven't really got to worry if you've already done an absolute shitload all over the world. You'll still be able to get like 25 quests with all your dungeon quests and yeah, like you whatever dailies that you want to hand in as well.
Have you done any pre-stacking of quests there, Willie?
I've been doing archaeology. No.
Big.
I just think on launch I'm gonna I mean, when I look at the RAF launch, we had 2 zones to go in. Okay, getting to the zones was a disaster. I remember the boats just breaking for Berean Tundra, at least on Alliance. And then they had to add the teleport NPCs, which they've just left in the game. But I'm kind of hoping it'll just be okay. Somewhat naively, if the pre-patch is anything to go by, but I think you'll just be able to quest and it should be okay.
Yeah,
Crossed.
What if the teleport stopped working in the major cities to like teleport you back to Mount Hyjal and they have to add like an NPC or something?
I mean, the first thing I'm planning on doing is queuing for a BG. If we were getting 1 to 70, I reckon I could get 80-25 pretty damn quick.
That would piss me off so much, but I would be so excited for you at the same time. I'm like, what a fucking legend.
I'd be multi-boxing accounts just to get as many characters through BGs as possible.
Yeah, I mean, for the launch of TBC, I did the dungeon grind. Launch of RAF, I just leveled normally and it was fine. They put a delay between the raid launch anyway, and I kind of think they might do that again, so there should be enough time, even with everything that's going to be to do on launch, which is a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next one we kind of got a little preview of. It was from Quick. They asked, should I swap to arms during pre-patch or not until Cata release? And looking at the damage meters of ICC, I don't think it matters. I think they're both kind of shit.
You might as well go pro. You might as well go pro and sit and watch the raid.
There's your answer.
Just re-roll Fire Mage.
Shout out to Quick Toes though. What an absolute legend. The only man that I know that's got issue with carpet on boats, and no one's gonna. There's not going to be many people that know what I'm talking about there, but when he watches this back, he'll know. He'll know. But yeah, I mean, come on, let's be fair. Like, Warriors are kind of in a bit of a shit position at the moment, so it don't really matter. Play what you want, and I'd say that to everyone though. If you don't like Fire Mage, you know, and you'd rather be Arcane, cool, go Arcane. If you prefer Frost, go Frost. It's the pre-patch. It's just like anybody who's critiquing the amount of damage you're doing in a raid, like, is just a fucking dick. Go and raid somewhere else because it's, you know, it's meant to be fun. We're all just fucking about. None of us are 100% on how to play our class. Like, not a single person. You know, there'll be things that we can do differently in the pre-patch that we won't be doing in, you know, actual Cataclysm, and just have fun. Play whatever you want.
All right, Steve-O asked, how has healing changed in PvP since spells like Mortal Strike and Venomous Shot now reduce healing by 25% instead of 50%? I don't know who to really direct this towards. If anybody has any opinion on this, then go for it.
It's going to make minimal difference. The overall amount of damage is higher in Cata. So you're going to have to heal more. It just makes the importance of that buff less. Like, if you don't have a Mortal Strike, it's not like, you just can't kill a healer. So, it's I think it's a good change overall. But we'll see when it comes to Cata. I mean, phase 1, melee are just going to rip through everything anyway, with no care for anything. So, that'll be fun.
I just know that my heals already suck as a Boomy, like my off heals on myself. So if I had a 50% Mortal Strike on me, then I would just sit down and let them crit me, like sit to crit. Like, it just wouldn't even be worth it. So 25%, maybe I'll still be able to go around a corner and heal up a little bit.
Sorry, was this specifically pre-patch, or are we just talking in general? Are we talking Cata as well? Or?
I don't know. I just copy pasted the questions. I didn't specify in it.
Oh, okay. Because like the one thing I will say is like the extent of the PvP that I've done recently was the battle against the Blues. So when we done our RBG with the devs, and I think PvP, like, it felt really good. To say everybody was in similar gear. It weren't even PvP gear, so okay, we didn't have like massive amounts of resilience or anything like that, but like time to kill target, the burst in general, survivability, like it feels like skill will prevail in Cata for me. And again, like, I'm not a big PvPer, but I do want to do a hell of a lot of PvP in actual Cata. My main is gonna, at the first time in classic history where my main is gonna have a PvE spec and a PvP spec. I'm going to be rep PvE, rep PvP. Like, that is unheard of from me. But it's because I do want to take it seriously. And, yeah, I feel like everything Cata-wise PvP, from what I hear from big PvPers as well, is that, it is a really, really balanced sort of expansion for PvP.
Yeah, definitely. The first phase is a little bit melee heavy, which, as someone who doesn't really play melee in PvP, that's tough. But once you get past the first phase, we'll start dominating as casters.
All right, this next one is for Scotty. A lot of people have been asking, but Tome, Tome, asked, is there a way to listen to podcasts offline, like on Spotify or something?
Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to do it, and it is literally just time. Yes, I will 100%. I've even signed up to a thing called Podcorn, which is like a distributor. It's not porn corn, or it's not porn. It's Podcorn, and it's a distributor. So like, I just put it in one place, and then it goes out to all of the other like podcast platforms. So I've started doing it. I think I'll try and make sure that it's done before Cata actually launches. So every Cataclysm podcast, sort of, from Cata launch, will be available on Spotify, iTunes, all of that. I've always thought that it was just kind of pointless. Like, I know there will be people that enjoy listening to it off YouTube and having it on Spotify and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't feel like we've got the following where it's gonna be worth the time. But I'll try it. If like it's one or two people listening to it, because it costs, by the way. It's not free. So yeah, if I look at it and it's like it's just not worth it just to please 5 or 6 people or something, then it'll be stopped very quickly. But we'll give it a go.
All right, the last question I had, unless you saw any other ones after this one, was from Covalis, and they were asking, with Blizzard saying you cannot purchase Justice Points items above your level, is there anything we can get early on to still get Justice Points from leveling dungeons? And for the last part there, from leveling dungeons, I hopped on the beta the other day because No Hit Jerome asked me, like, are we getting Justice Points from dungeons in Cata? And I didn't get any from the underwater one, whatever that one's called, Throne of the Tides. And so I didn't know if you only got them from like the level 84 to 85 dungeons, like the last 3, like Halls of Origination or anything like that, like the normal mode ones, like not the heroics. But maybe we get some from those last ones.
I'm sure you get like 16 or something. I'd need to look it up. I know you'll get Justice Points for the randoms.
Like the random normals?
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you get a small amount. Yeah, like it's less than heroics.
I thought you just got a little bit for everything, pretty much.
It's a good question because I don't know off the top of my head, but
off the top of my head, and I'm like 80% confident you will get them, like Go was saying, from Grimbatol, Halls of Origination, and
the Sky one, right?
No, that's Vortex Pinnacle. You won't get it from Vortex Pinnacle.
Actually, I didn't get any on the pre-patch when I was testing it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only like the 80. Basically, anything that's going to give you max level rep also gives you justice points. Is the way to look at it.
I mean, I'm looking at a list now of everything it comes from. So Cataclysm 80 to 85 normal / heroic random dungeon. So random, yeah, any like RDF dungeon should give you justice points. But boss-wise, it's only heroic dungeon bosses that give 70, which is quite weird when you can go and do. You can even go and do burning TBC heroic bosses and get justice points. So you can literally, like heroic bosses in general. Wrath of the Lich King heroic bosses will give 16. Heroic TBC bosses will give 6, apparently. Burning Crusade raid bosses give 10. So basically, yeah, any max level content of any expansion plus random dungeon finder.
Oh, but the first part of that, is there anything you can get early on? So, like, say your justice points capped at 80. We launch. You've got your 4K points stocked up. Can you go to the vendor and get like the enchanting mats or
consumables,
the packs or anything like that?
Yeah. Profession mats, so, that should be there.
So you can spend a little bit on that and then recap as you're leveling up to 85.
Yeah. And, I mean, I was hoping that was going to be there in the pre-patch, but it's not because that would have been quite nice.
Yeah, and instead you have to try to pull mobs out of the new zones and then kill them and then get the mats that way instead of getting it off the vendor.
Yeah.
Is that how people were doing it? I heard people were getting the stomachs with volatiles in, but I hadn't heard how they were doing it.
Yeah, it's all on my Discord.
Yeah, like hunters are sending their pets in and then
into Twilight Highlands, yeah. And there's also some in where you ain't even got to do that. There's some up in Tirisfal Glades. So there's a lake on the western side of Tirisfal Glades, which in Legion had Cata level Twilight mobs that dropped Ember Silk. They're not actually in because I went over and checked, but there are like crocodiles and that you can kill and skin. So there's a few places. I mean, I cheesed my way to being able to fish in Twilight Islands last night, but there is the fish are not in the game. So I was like sat fishing like for a while just to test it and just make sure that it weren't like bad luck. So I was doing it for a good 30-40 minutes just to see if I got anything from it at all. But like you fish up just empty loot. So yeah, they've been a bit more careful, but there are ways to actually get Cata mats now.
Yeah, and that was it for the viewer question. So
can we add one more? It's not a viewer question, but one that people need to know about. And it was because of Sam, actually, who said, is there any reasons to work on Guild Rip before Cata drops? Well, the primary reason was for heirlooms. But what some of you may or may not have noticed is Blizzard have completely shafted the heirlooms, and they only work up to level 80 at the moment. So where the head and cloak should go up to level 85, they're now only up to level 80. And that's, I mean, I see that as actually. What's your guys' opinion on that first? And then I'll throw mine in because yeah.
There was a bit of a discussion in this with the guild earlier, and people basically said they were upgradable in MOP and they shouldn't be 285 in this expansion in the first place. I don't know if that's right.
That's not right.
That's not right.
Interesting,
isn't it?
No.
So it seemed as though they should go to 85 in this expansion.
So
I mean, basically, for me, with the heirlooms, just as my thoughts on it, do you ever get to level with looms in your first time around when the expansion launches?
No,
I'd probably put those on.
I don't think you do. So, just buff them a few weeks after launch. It's fine, pretty much. That's all I think.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
My viewpoint of it is that again, you are right. When would we ever get an XP buff for our first clear? It's the fact that I still don't think there's been a blue post actually acknowledging it or talking about what their plans are with it. So we don't know if we're ever going to get them rebuffed or things like that. My argument is that the lack of communication is just overwhelming again.
I feel like
I've noticed that a lot in the pre-patch for sure.
maybe you wouldn't even want to use the helm right away. Say you have your 7/7, whatever your heroic 4 set is from ICC. Would you really want to break that 4 set at level 80 when you're starting to level?
10% XP, absolutely.
10%.
For
the 5% for the cloak, if I had the Halion, the 284 cloak, then I'd kind of feel like, maybe I get to 81, then I put the cloak on. So I feel like
if you've got ICC stuff, you're going to be blasting these quest mobs.
Yeah. It's is it worth it losing that? Because it's I feel like I would be blasting harder, killing mobs faster if I had my 4 set than if I were to put that on. So maybe it would balance out XP wise.
You can only one-shot a mob so hard, though.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is,
Mount Hygel's pretty easy.
It's quests as well. When you're talking you hand a quest in that's 50k and now you get 55k, that's a big difference.
It really does add up for sure.
So you kill mobs with your 4 set, like your ICC set, and then you switch your heirlooms on to turn your quest in, and then you switch it back to.
I wouldn't bother doing that. I'll just put the heirlooms on.
Humans ever done that.
There'll be a weak ore to auto do it. Yeah, you'll be fine.
There probably will be. Yeah.
My thoughts on it is firstly, Blizzard it showed a clear lack of understanding of the Cataclysm systems, by them even needing to do it. Straight away they should have. Well, there should have been a guild rep cap. That was always a thing. We should never have been able to get to the heirlooms anyway. During the pre-patch, we should have had a 4.2, 4.3k rep cap, and then they should have had the cloak as honoured and the head as revered. And then, more or less the problem solves itself. But they didn't realise clearly that was actually a thing originally, because they're clueless. And secondly, what's the harm? As in having them available. You would like to think that most people that are going to play Cata are not waiting until the 20th. Most people are playing during the pre-patch to get ready and do stuff for Cataclysm launching. So you can more or less say that 90% of people are going to have the cloak and the head. We got increased cadence where we're burning through this expansion as quickly as possible because Blizzard want to get to MOP. So that extra 15% leveling a bit quicker. I don't see any harm in it. I think it was a terrible decision to put them to level 80, actually. I mean, the best decision would have been to actually implement a system to not allow you to get them until the week after Cataclysm actually launches anyway. That would have been the way to do it, which would have been putting a guild rep cap in, which should have been there anyway. But yeah, that's my views. It's they should just be we fucked up. People have got their heirlooms, whatever. Everybody's got access to them. Leave it as it is.
It felt really good to have that to go for as a fresh reroll on my troll. I was like, oh, it's sick. I don't want to just dungeon spam because I want to do quests because I'm going to be getting my guild rep faster to get my heirlooms faster. So I got my cloak at level 15, 16, something like that. And then it took till level 30 or something to get the helm. But I quested and to do that. So it kept me in the world. It made the world feel alive for people. They saw me out there in the world. I wasn't just finding a 5-man group spamming RDF. And then it helped me level up to 80 as fast as I did because I had that 15% extra XP boost. But at 80 to 85, 15% XP, it is what it is.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not bothered. I'm not gonna cry about it, but I just think when they fuck something up like that, they should just leave it. To me, it's
it was a weird
negligible.
change.
Yeah. I got a real spicy question.
I don't mind it. I'm kind of okay with them changing it, to be honest, because it's just usually how things are at the start of an expansion, and that's why they've done it, without a doubt. But again, we've got an accelerated cadence, so if they wanted to leave it in, then I'd be okay with that as well. I don't know. I'm just not too fast. Leveling is quite a short phase, so
yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got a spicy question then. So we know how short the cadence is. You know, yeah, how quick everything's going to go with Cataclysm. I'm trying to pull it up now where the actual dates of everything are. So bear with me.
I've got it.
Can you chuck a link in for us? Or just read it out.
The link.
Yeah.
The link I don't have, but was it the 20th is launch? May 20th is launch. We're expecting, was it the 28th or the 30th if it's Thursday for raids to open? And then it says July is Rise of Zandalari, which is not like a new tier. That's just new 5-man heroics. But tier 12 Firelands is in October of 2024. And then tier 13 Twilight or Hour of Twilight is in January 2025. So I was trying to look up like how long these phases could last. And what is it? Rise of the Zandalari could be between 5 to 9 weeks after tier 11 comes out, depending on where it falls in July when the raid launches in May. And then Firelands would be 9 to 17 weeks after Rise of Zandalari. And then Hour of Twilight would be 10 to 17 weeks after Firelands. So probably like 12, 16 weeks, like 3 to 4 months for each tier. And to me, it that seems kind of nice. It's accelerated. I did look previously. It was like 29, 22 weeks in between the tiers. But it still seems kind of right to be 3 to 4 months. Like that seems like a good like amount of time for each tier.
I'm with you, right? Okay, like genuinely am. As someone who's played lots of Cata, you know, like there's going to be only so much of the 7 bosses in Firelands I can take. You know, when we get to that, like the first phase is cool. There's plenty of bosses, but when we get to Firelands, yes, we will still be dabbling in some tier 11 still, no doubt, for certain items. But, you know, ultimately we've got like 7 new bosses. My spicy question, which actually, Willie, I want you to go first, is do you actually think that they're going to stick to this cadence? Like, so by this, we're going to have January, we're going to have Hour of Twilight. And then realistically, we should be looking at MOP pre-patch in like, say April latest. We would be saying April.
Yeah, it'd be around this time next year. Yeah, it would be.
What's your
I think
thoughts?
they're going to stick to it? No, basically. I think this is just the idea. Is that they changed the dates for the Cata pre-patch before it even came out on the roadmap
and stuff. Yeah,
they pushed that back. Then again, I kind of get the impression that they're kind of pretty pressed as far as how much they have to do goes between Season of Discovery and Cataclysm on the team. And obviously they put the pre-patch out in the state that it's in. So they're sticking to some deadlines at the moment. They're being told to put stuff out and they're just putting it out and then fixing it afterwards. So I think they will change though, depending on how things go. You know, subscriber counts, general feel of how things are going, whether they've got the content ready. But yeah, it's always hard to say. But if I had to guess, I'd say they won't stick to it.
Are you saying that it's going to be faster than that, or it's going to take a little bit longer?
Longer, I'd say.
Okay. Jay, what do you think? Is like a 3 to 4 month tier progression a comfortable pace, or is the original pace of like 5-6 months a better like strategy for Cata?
I'm gonna be honest. For me personally, I would like to see, like, I like the pacing, but yeah, I agree with what Will's saying. It's already, like, everything about Cata so far has just felt rushed, and I can't see how that's going to feel any better in the next, like, in each tier. As it is at the moment, we're going to be pushing, like, MOP by this time next year. We'd be in MOP, which just seems extremely fast, like. But maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they are trying to just send us through and get us done with the expansions. But I don't know. But I suppose the hard part is we don't really know where this classic journey is going either. So we don't know what, like, we might be rushing towards just having nothing to play, which doesn't feel good at all.
See, I think with the amount of people, well, from what I'm seeing personally, I feel like the pre-patch of Cata, even with all bugs aside, like Mankrik in particular, is fucking booming. Like Ogrimar's lagging with the amount of people that are in it all day long. It's not like peak times. I mean, whenever you're in Ogrimmar, there is so many people absolutely everywhere. I think they've like, even with Season of Discovery, they're already, shutting down servers, consolidating those servers. There was a couple that I saw that are going, if they've not already gone. There's going to be a decent player base for Cata. And honestly, if we can get all the way to Dragon Soul finishing, or even starting, if we get all the way to Dragon Soul starting and there's as many people playing, as I think there will be, I see MOP as an absolute no-brainer. I think it's a given already. I think they already know that they're doing MOP before Cata. I bet this is the first time where they're, when they done TBC, they probably weren't sure about Wrath. I bet when they've done Cata, they're 100% positive about MOP because they know that it will be better received than Cata will be, like 100%.
I think MOP's a no-brainer too. It's weird as well, the whole MOP remix thing they're doing with retail. Where it's like they're trying to push people through it early. I don't know. I've seen people say, "Oh, they're doing this MOP remix. That means they're not going to do MOP Classic." I'm like,
it's not even the same thing.
Part of the game is how your class plays. It's just retail stuff in MOP. I could go to MOP now if I wanted to and make a level 90 guild. It's not what it's about. I'll wait till Classic, thanks.
That's exactly how I feel about it. But I do like the original question was about sticking to the timeline that they've put out. And I honestly, if I had to put money on it, I bet we're in Dragon Soul for about 10 or 11 months again. I bet they literally just history repeats itself. Like that. One
10
of the
11. Ooh.
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be that long.
You said that, and I got angry.
That's going to be a killer. That is. I don't know.
Yeah, well, look how long we've been in ICC. I mean, how long have we been in ICC with when they said before it launched that it was going to be a faster Wrath of the Lich King? They literally even said that. They said the only, they was going to make Ulduar last a little bit longer, keep it more relevant, but they said it was going to be 15 months, I believe, is what they said in the interview. Chris Zayahurt. And
October 12th.
Yeah, October 12th, 2023.
That's kind of scary. That's a long time. Mind you, in
7 months ago?
We were in Nax 40 for about 7 months. It came out early December, and TBC was June 1st.
Yeah, so 7 months. I still think Dragon Soul's gonna drag it out, and people will start dropping off before MOP because it just lasts so long. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's like 3 months and then straight into the MOP pre-patch. But like, ICC was never meant to last this long. It's really outstayed its welcome, and I see him doing. But it did the first time round as well, and I just see him doing the same thing again in Cata. But again, I hope I'm wrong. Just my opinion.
So I'm thinking people are complaining in SOD about how the phases were taking a little bit too long, and it was like 10 weeks, and people were like, well, there's nothing left to do. People are complaining week 2 or 3 of every phase. Like, how is that going to be different for Cata, where the only addition to each phase, like the first patch 2 or phase 2, if you want to call it, is ZGZA, which is ZGZA, sorry, the 2 5-man heroics. Is that going to feel like enough content that's going to get released? Is that going to tide us over for another 2 months until tier 12 comes out?
You got a Molten Front. That'll keep you happy.
Yeah, do your dailies.
That comes out with. I thought that comes out with Firelands. I didn't think that came out with ZAZG.
Yeah, that will be Firelands for sure. But I know Cata's like the last expansion, in my opinion, which is pretty thin on horizontal content. MOP fleshes stuff out hugely with challenge modes, brawlers, guilds, pets, battles, far more collection stuff. And Cata, you want to raid log and play some good raids, play some fun classes. This is like the final stop to do that. If you want a lot more to do, that's kind of MOP and beyond for me.
I'm 100% with you. Yeah, replayable content like MOP is, MOP is where it gets really interesting. But yeah, I think no one liked MOP. Yeah, of course, mate. Anyway, yeah, comments like that just make me laugh. It's like, Cata. I think it needs to be a bit quicker. I still think if it stays to the original timeline, I think the first phase, there's plenty to do, but when we get on to talking about the raid testing, that's going to be the problem for me. You know, if the raids are as they are on the beta, then that could be where phase 1 even feels like it outstays its welcome a bit too long. But obviously, we'll get onto that, which we can get onto now.
Yeah. So
did you like the segue? I mean, that was perfect, wasn't it?
It was okay. It was decent. It was a solid 3 out of 10. But so that was the viewer questions, and then Scott added a personal question on at the end there, but to try to outshine the viewer questions. But yeah, so next
try out.
Yeah, if you have a viewer question, join Scott's Discord. There's a section where you can put in your questions for us. We'll address it next week or next time we go live. If it's Saturday that we go live next, then we'll get to him Saturday.
We won't be doing Saturday. We've got our stream meet up on Saturday. We're all out.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're out of town. So yeah, probably next Wednesday would be the next show. But if you wanted to have us answer your question live right now, you can support the show by hitting us with a super chat, and we'll immediately we'll stop Jay mid-sentence. Willie, stop drinking. We have a question. No. We will pause the show to get to your question with a super chat. And thanks for the support in advance. So, Scotty, where were you leading us to with that amazing segue that you had there?
Well, I think it's time to talk about raid difficulty. And I've got some hot takes on this.
I think we all do.
Yeah. So I think like Willie, actually, you start us off. So everybody, if you don't know already, the weekend just gone, all tier 11 raids were open to be tested. I didn't do as much as I would have liked, but that's mainly because I was ill all weekend, so I just spent all my weekend digging. But I got to see it all through Jay's eyes anyway, because he was raiding with our 10-man team, like a specific 10-man team that we'll be doing during Cata. So he's got some good information there. But Willie, what was your experience of the beta over the weekend?
Yeah, so we did, I think it was 3 raid nights. Day 1 and 2 was just clearing normals, so we got some people who've done this back in the day, but there's a lot of looking stuff up and, just getting people familiarized with what's going on. We were doing it as a full guild group and on 25 as well, and the normals were in 3, 4, 6 gear, so a heroic kind of previous level. And the normals were... I just thought it was normal mode, so I was like, I wasn't expecting much, but yeah, you just kind of one-shot everything. There wasn't much substance there, to be fair, but I guess we were in about the appropriate gear. Then we moved on to heroics, so we did, I think it was Magmor, Chimeron, or however you say it, Maloriac, Conclave, and Archimedes. And the next raid night, we're going to be going to Bastion of Twilight. And the general experience, especially with some of the heroic fights, and the heroic ones we did upgrade to 359 gear, by the way, for the whole raid. So maybe we weren't too far off what the appropriate gear level should be. But, I noticed, and, I've talked with other people about this, like Jay, for example, that the bosses seem to be missing a lot of health. And I felt as though, we were playing fine. We were sorting out cooldowns and stuff throughout the fights, but we weren't doing things kind of as well as we could have been, and we were missing some mechanics. We were getting hit by things, and I just felt as though we were powering through it with cooldowns, and things weren't quite as punishing as they should have been if it was original. This could just be me misremembering it from back in the day, but it did feel as though things were tuned down a little bit. Now, the one other thing I'll say is, this could just be a beta PTR test type thingy, because sometimes Blizzard might want to lower health bars on bosses just so people get through all the content, they see all the mechanics. and they make sure they're working, basically, so when it goes live, it'll be good. But the general impression was that it felt not up to the standard I was expecting it to be, given that we are in Cataclysm now with raiding content, which is expected to be a bit of a step up from Wrath.
Yeah.
Did you guys have like DBM or anything like that? Because I know there's versions of that for private servers. So did you go in there with like no add-ons, or were there weak ores or anything like that you guys used?
I think most people are using Foji already.
Okay.
He's already got that working, so I think people are using that. But a lot of the timings on bosses was quite random. Especially like on Maloriak, for example, the red phase on Heroic when he does his big fire breath, which chunks your raid. We're trying to line up cooldowns and we were just guessing. We're just sending aura masteries and we're like, well, I hope he does it now. And quite often he did. So yeah, it was far from perfect.
So all the bosses on the beta at the moment are in their 4.2 state. So when Firelands launched, they had like humongous nerfs. You know, we're talking like having 30. The difference between having the 30% buff on in ICC or doing it with no buff. You know, we're talking that size nerf. I mean, every single boss was affected. Most of them lost like 20% health. You know, and most of them had their biggest hard hitting abilities, the damage reduced by like 30%. You know, we're talking. They're not even the same raids. So like that's exactly what the state of the beta was. Where like like if you're doing normal in that, you know, in that sort of tuning state, you don't even need to worry about mechanics. Like, it's as simple as that. There's the same way I would compare it to ICC 10 normal. You know, if you was to go in and do ICC 10 normal, do you really need to worry about mechanics, or do you just press buttons and the bosses fall over? You know, when you've got a 30% buff. So they're definitely 100% the beta was all in its 4.2 state, which is, which I've probably got opinions on, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Jay, so obviously you, we went and done a few bosses, didn't we, on the first night? But then the servers just all fucked up on the launch night of the beta raids, and I think we gave up after about an hour or two of trying to get back in, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then you went back the following night.
Well, I did 3 nights as well. I did, obviously, the first night, which failed miserably. Not us, the servers, shocker. We did the second night where we went and did every boss in similar situation to kind of how Willie was saying, in the like 346 pre-raid Biskia, no DMF trinkets, 1 Valor Point item, that sort of thing. And the only boss that really gave us any trouble was Neff, and that's just because we were trying kind of tactics that we were using before on other servers, and it was just slightly different. But aside from that, I'm pretty sure we one-shot every boss. And like you said, we ignored mechanics. We weren't using cooldowns correctly at all. It was a complete mess. There was people in there that hadn't seen the raids before, and it fell over. Everything really did fall over. So I was a little bit like shocked, and I think that's when we had our discussion about the level of difficulty of the raid testing. And I went in the next day and I did 3 separate raids with pugs, all planning on doing 25-man. All planning on doing like some heroic bosses. Each raid did a couple of different heroic bosses, and to get people that have never seen the fights before, have never played Cata before, so they're learning new classes and things like that, going in and doing heroic bosses straight off the bat, it was a little bit shocking. I hope you don't mind me talking about it, but I did a video talking about the difficulty and kind of gauging some people's opinions and thoughts on this. And I think my mind's been kind of swayed a little bit, actually, to what my original opinion was.
I watched that video, so I know what your original opinion was.
As it is at the moment, I think we're going to see the same like 5 top guilds all clear the raid in an hour 30 on heroic week, like night 1. And I just think that's going to be the level of it. I don't think there's going to be any of this kind of tier 11 ridiculously hard kind of point. Again, we haven't had any confirmation of this from Blizzard, so we don't know if this is the final state of things. But as it is at the moment, I don't think it's going to be very difficult for people. But I'm kind of okay with that now, actually, a little bit.
So, I just want to, normally I'll go last, but I just want to go next, just because it might feed well into, because I kind of think I know where your mindset would be. Should we touch on the super chat quickly, though, before I start
I really
rattling?
wanted to interrupt Jay just because I said that.
You should.
I was going to do.
Actually should.
I was just going to cut him right off, but I held my tongue. But yeah, Aiden, thank you. Anyone planning on doing content on tier 11 loot prio? And I was looking up because I know a couple of people did that back in TBC, and I see Zader, Zatar. I don't know how to say his name. I've seen him on some other podcasts before, like guesting, but he hasn't posted anything in the last 11 months from what I see on his YouTube channel. And there might have been other people that did loot prio videos back in the TBC era. I don't know if I really saw
it happened
that
in
video
Wrath as well. No, it happened in
It was
Wrath as well. Like
okay.
Geordie and that, they had loot prio lists that they'd done. And I think like it's a good idea, and like I'd happily do it as a group. Like it's not something I would want to sit and do on my own. But if we got like a good group of us where we had one of each class, and we even just hashed it out live, not as a podcast, but we was just live and we talked through them. But my honest opinion of that is the fact that we can say, oh yeah, well, like this item should go to a mage, but it's like, should it be like, is there going to be a warlock that's doing more damage? As in, I think we need accurate sims, or at least fairly reliable sims for all classes where we can go, look, this class, assuming everybody's performing at the 99th percentile, this class is going to get more damage out of that item. And I think until we've got that, it's a bit of a risky thing to do because it's all fieldcraft, isn't it? It's like, I think a mage will be better with that. I think a DK will be better with that. I think I don't think it's the right time to do it personally. But more and more classes are being added to WoW Sims. So I think once we've got some decent Sims and we can really look at what all the items are doing for each class, we could definitely sit and just hash it out. But yes, I know we are, Saf. I only need to read the first bit.
I know Balance Druid isn't working yet on the Sims yet. I don't think there's any dev for that. So if you enjoy coding, hit up the WoW Sims and get the Balance Druid working.
It's like I know the big items that I'm going to be chasing personally as a Fire Mage, as a Rep Pally, as even a Holy Pally. But I can't physically know every class inside out. It's not possible, and that's why I lean on you guys as an example. Where it's like, oh, what's this, Jay, about Shaman? Because I can't, physically hold that amount of information. But I think if we got a really good group of us together and started, putting together a bit of a draft of loot prio once we've got accurate or semi-accurate sims, that could be a lot of fun.
In some ways, it should be easier than previous expansions because there's no more like you're playing a Ret or a Warrior and you're like, I need to look at leather gear and potentially mail gear if it's got loads of gems and plate gear. It's like you look at plate gear and that's it. That's all you need to look at.
Like, it's also the fact that reforging is a thing. So,
that too,
there might be hard bits for people where it's like, this is just factually better than everything else. But outside of like trinkets, weapons, tier pieces, I imagine, certainly for me, I've already gone through, I've done all my best lists for like all 3 chamois specs because I'm a nerd. I have options in almost every slot except for things like trinkets, where obviously you can't reforge them. They're just, you can, but you can't reforge the effects on them. So it's going to be pretty locked down into which ones you want. But yeah,
I've done the same, and it's exactly the same. It's like, oh, right, well, if I can't get the expertise on the trinket, then I'll get the expertise on the legs, and I can use this trinket instead. If I can't get the hit on the neck, then I'll use the gloves instead. And yeah, I think it is a lot more flexible. There'll still absolutely be a pure BIS list, like 100%. But yeah, if it was like I'm already using 372 gloves, but then my absolute BIS 372 gloves drops, would I take them from someone who's still using 359? that I wouldn't. There'd be no point. I'll just reforge one of my other pieces to get the stats that I need. So I think there is a lot more flexibility there, which would need to be sort of taken into account. But I think a good loot prio sort of thing to look at as a group would be more trinkets, weapons, those sort of things where it's like, well, who is this trinket actually best for? Who should this go to first? They're probably where I would start. And even tier set bonuses, which who's going to benefit the most from their 2 set and 4 set. So yeah, I think we should think about doing that. So that super chat, thank you. That was a good question that has probably led us on to a 10-hour podcast at some point in the next couple of weeks.
I'm not going to say thanks. No, 10 hours. Fuck.
One extra thing to add to that, just in case like people don't know, the tier sets in Cata work slightly differently to Wrath. Well, no, I suppose they work similarly to ICC actually, in that you have to buy the base piece with Valor points and then upgrade it to the heroic piece with the tier piece, unless it's the helmet or the shoulders. So, like, again, you're going to be prioritizing your tier pieces based on, like, who's going to be buying what pieces of tier from Valor first as well.
And you get the essence as well.
Yeah.
The essence from Alakir, which can be used for anything.
Yes, on heroic, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that that's not on normal, is it?
No, heroic, yeah, heroic Alakir. And it can just be used as any... It's like a wild card token type thing.
Oh yeah, this is something I noticed on the beta actually. I completely forgot. Is it Conclave and Alakir have like random loot?
Yeah. And
I
some of those are really good.
They dropped and I'm like, oh no. Imagine being a loot council and being like, I need exactly these stats.
Yeah.
This is Gigabis.
Some of them are really good, which is like quite unfortunate, to try and decide about.
Our kill the other day, we got a hit expertise item drop from Conclave, and it was just like, that's amazing. Like if that dropped for someone in, like, it was a plate item as well, like it just sorts your stats out entirely on that one-off piece.
Yeah.
If you saw that on live, it would be amazing.
But anyway, sorry, go on. What was you going to ask, Willie? I was going to go back on topic.
Well, yeah, it was back on topic. Speaking of the rating, like on the beta, there was a couple of comments from Jugs Wow on Mage's YouTube video discussing the beta testing, and they were saying that there was a bug on Alakir, and like you couldn't really kill that boss or something like that. So did you experience any bugs on any of the fights at all?
Yes. I'll tell you what, for how the pre-patch has been, a lot of this stuff at least has been functional on the beta. It may not be tuned to where we expect it to be, but it's functional. Apart from Alakir, in phase 3, the bit when he breaks the platform, there's a mechanic called lightning, which is when you're too far up or down. It's not the lightning cloud which you places somewhere and then you have to move up or down. And that was just hitting people randomly for about 100,000. We didn't kill Alakir on normal. I think we did 2 or 3 attempts. We both got to about 5%. And people just randomly got one shot. It wasn't lightning rod, wasn't lightning cloud. It was bugged.
And you said normal, not heroic. It was normal.
Yeah.
Jay, you killed it on normal, didn't you?
Yeah, we brute forced it. That's the joys of having a flow and a nully. But yeah, it wasn't clean by any means. Like, yeah, we had it similar, but we were doing 10-man, so people were able to take a hit of it. Whereas on 25-man, I was here and it was just one-shotting people, every person it hit.
Yeah, it was every other global, someone would die.
It's a burn phase.
Yeah, it's a really big burn phase. But no, yeah, I think that was bugged. And that was, out of every fight we did, the only one that was bugged.
That's not bad, is it?
I think it's lightning strike. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. My thoughts. Obviously, I went off on a tangent because of the super chat. Again, thank you for that. If you want more questions, keep firing them super chats in. Pay for this beer. I've been going backwards and forwards on what is good for the game, not good for me. Now, for anybody who's watched me for any length of time, which I feel really fucking sorry for you if you have, I even before TBC came out, I was like, man, I hope we've got pre-nerf. I hope we've got drums stacking. I hope we got all of this, you know, make the raids harder, like want really big challenges. I feel like my mindset has shifted over the last couple of years of playing Classic, where like it's nice having hard raids, and I enjoy hard raids. Like I really do, and Jay knows. Like we've played on most of the same private servers together, where it's all buffed content. We'll wipe for hours to kill one boss. Like cool, yeah, I can deal with that, and it feels really rewarding when it dies. But I don't think that is what the like for the healthiness of the game. And the community, I don't think that's what the wider player base want. They want to experience the content. They want to go in and, you know, have a bit of a challenge. You know, what we'd consider a challenge, and what, you know, a dad guild who only get a few hours a week to physically raid together, you know, what they'd consider difficult. You know, they're probably still wiping on Putricide with a 30% buff. And I'm not taking the piss. I'm being serious. You know, whereas we're going in and blasting it and not even getting any mechanics happen because it's dying so fast. But so I don't think Classic is the right place for hard content. Like I genuinely don't. So I'd like it to be a bit challenging. You know, I want mechanics to be punishing on heroic. Like normal, I don't care. Like normal can be as easy as you want. Like yeah, you can just go in and face roll through it. Cool. Because you know Jay Willie plays in a very good guild. You know, they're an organized guild. Clearly, you know, they were all using weak auras and everything already, like, for beta testing. You know, they done, like, a dorm with 0% buff. They're, like, you know, they're a good guild. Like, Jay took in a group of people that I personally play with and know very, very well. And we've done all this content on private servers together as a group. Like, the vast majority of that group have been playing together for years now. But your average guild that will go in, it will probably be a challenge because they're having to learn the mechanics, having to, you know, so it's like, it's not a fair comparison. So I am kind of all right with it being post-nerf, which, again, people probably are not expecting me to say. Because I don't think that's what people want. You know, like, I enjoy going in a raid and blasting. You know, like take the most fun raids I've had recently have been these pre-patch raids, going in on a fucking busted mage and just deleting bosses and being like, oh my god, like that was awesome. You know, did I have the same experience last night when we wiped about 4 times on Lich King 25 heroic? Like, no. I started to be like, man, this is just not fun anymore. Like, because we did. And that takes me to why Willie was right. Willie was right on the pre-patch podcast because he said, Infest might be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And Infest was a bit of a fucking struggle as well. Oh, yeah, there was trap issues and stuff.
Oh, the shadow trap issues, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there was issues. I died a couple of times switching my fucking brain off, and like, yeah, like we you know, many people fucked up, as I say, including myself at different times. But overall, you know, the first 11 bosses were really fun. We were just blasting them down, trying to do as much damage as possible. And then we had a few wipes on Lich King, and you could feel the atmosphere change. You know, it went from a good...
I was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly. It went from a good time to a bad time. And I know partly is that part of that is because we've been in ICC for months, you know. But I don't think super hard challenging content is what the majority want anymore. And I don't even know, like, if I want challenging content, I would go and play retail. Like, I genuinely think I would if I was like, man, I just need raids that are more difficult. That's why I kind of would like something to challenge, like challenge modes. A prime example in MUP, you know, where you can push yourself. You know, like Saf's a prime example who's in chat still. You know, where with him like obsessed with speed runs and stuff. And I've took the piss out of him. You know, I'm like, I don't fucking get it, mate. I don't know why you do it. But like, I'm starting to realize that actually, when that is the only challenge that's left in the game, is to do things really fast. There's no difference between that and doing challenge modes in MOP. It's literally exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So like, I kind of get it now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether having super hard introductory raids in Cataclysm is the right move. I actually think post-nerf would be good for the game.
it's frustrating that you've said it in that way, and I'm going to tell you why. Is because about an hour and a half before the podcast went live, I recorded a video that's coming out in the next couple of days that literally fucking says exactly what you've just said, and it's going to look like I copied you, but I didn't. But no, like I've kind of switched my mindset, and the reason I've switched my mindset, so I want post-raid tier 11, post-nerf tier 11. When, you know, the expansion's new, everyone's going to be leveling alts, everyone's going to be rep grinding, people are going to be, I mean, Scott's still going to be farming his Inrock. But basically, everything's new and fresh, right? People are going to be doing PvP, people are going to be doing all sorts of things.
Random
that actually,
RBGs,
like people could get into PvP, RBGs. Like, there's so much to do at the start of an expansion, and the further you go into an expansion, because there's not masses amount of new content added as a backlog, right? So, you know, in Cata, people are going to be going now and farming transmogs. People are going to be going farming mounts now that they're account bound.
I want to level and do some twink BGs and shit as well. You know, there's shit that I want to do that when you're just constantly progressing in raids, and that's like what you're just living and breathing, it don't leave a lot of time for other shit, does it?
No, but I have said in the video, and I'll stand by it, I would like to see pre-raid Firelands and pre-raid Dragon Soul. Firelands is 7 bosses, Dragon Soul is 8 bosses. They're not massive raids. There's minimal amounts of trash in both. I mean, there's shitloads of trash in Firelands, but you just skip it all.
Yeah.
But like I think having that as pre-raids,
Pre-nerf.
you know, by the time that pre-nerf, sorry, thank you. By the time that, you know, a lot of that grinding has stopped, you know, people are probably raid logging by that point. Raiding's going to be the majority of the content for people in the game. Having that be a little bit harder is potentially something that actually could keep people interested,
or at least being maybe a bit but having some good communication and saying, look, guys, like we Firelands is going to be hard. Like, it's going to be hard, but like after 3-4 weeks, we're moving it to post nerf. So, you know, you've got a few weeks to try and do what you can in pre nerf, but more or less, here's a set date. Like, this is when it's going to go into post-nerf. So then people are not like, oh, am I going to have to sit wiping for, 2 months before they make any changes? It's like, yeah, that's how you please everyone. It's like, guys, on Heroic, it's going to be particularly difficult for a few weeks, but then we're going to scale it back massively. But again, even that, like, I'm saying it, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, that's a few weeks where people might not be enjoying the content. I don't know. I feel like I'm very much on the, like, if I want hard content, like let's use MOP as an example, because let's face it, like over the next 3-4 months, if a MOP private server pops up, we're all gonna be playing on it. Like our guild, we play on most private servers where, when they're fresh, and especially when we know we're going to be a year away from potentially a MOP Classic. We'll be playing a MOP season. Like, that's where we're going to get the hard content. Then it's like kind of chill that then Classic is going to be substantially easier than that. And I know that's a very selfish point of view, because not everyone's going to go and play on a private server and experience hard content. But yeah, I think that's why I'm like, well, if I wanted to wipe loads and loads and loads and loads, and it feel like a laborious chore to kill bosses, then a private server is probably where I'd go.
I mean, at least for me in tier 11, I'm here for the progression. I want it to be pre-nerf, straight up. The majority of raids that have come out so far have been pre-nerf. I mean, I do agree there's some like correlation with hard raids and there being a player-based drop-off. I think Ulduar was the most shocking one. But you look at TBC, tier 5 held up pretty well. Sunwell held up pretty well. They both had difficult encounters. Why didn't they drop off as much?
Maybe
Ulduar wasn't all it cracked up to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Well, I don't like. Unpopular opinion. I'm full of them. I think Ulduar's better than ICC, but and I'll argue with anyone. But yeah, for me, I think it's the option of actually still killing some bosses. Like tier 11, you could go in and kill, let's say, Chimera on Heroic and Atramedes heroic. I think as long as some of the bosses are fairly accessible to start getting heroic loot from, I think it's when it's an entire raid that is, particularly difficult for more casual guilds. And I think even with pre-nerf, that would be the case. I think a lot of guilds would be able to kill Atramedes. They'd be able to kill Chimeron. They'd be able to kill Halphus. Probably even Valiona and Feralion, like the Twin Dragons. Because once you've got people who know how to handle the portals, like having a couple of sub-rogues going in or something, like that's actually quite easy as well. It don't really change a great deal from normal. Again, if you've got a couple of rogues that know what they're doing. I think as long as there's some accessible ones and then some really hard ones. But we saw what they've done with XT. In Alduar, XT was almost unachievable, like mathematically. But there was guilds that was getting close.
It wasn't doable.
Yeah. But they could have left it for a while.
People might have done it in ICC bis. Like, it was so overtuned, it was unreal. But again, just on the topic of tier 11, I know myself, throughout Wrath, I've kind of realized that I've been missing progression content a bit. And there's been some good progression throughout Wrath here and there, such as Yogg Zero, Algalon, Future Side. Not Syndraghost, so that fight is god awful. Just throw it in the bin. Literally, you could cast shock to kill that fight. I'd do it. It's terrible. And Lich King, of course. And there's been a lot of good progression fights, and I kind of miss some of that progression, and I'd like it to make a bit of a comeback into the game. I know it's kind of proven to be a bit counter to what the majority of people want, but this is Cata now. This is how the game was. This is the expansion when the tide started to turn from, Blizzard did start to tune things up more. They started to make things more difficult. They tried out harder heroic dungeons. They tried out harder heroic raids. And if we're getting post-nerf tier 11, are we just going to expect moving forwards that, sorry, this is classic, we can't have hard content or all the players are going to quit? Are we going to have nerfed Throne of Thunder, Siege of Orgrimmar? Are we going to do nerf Blackhand in WoD? Like, how far is this going to go? Is it just like, sorry, no hard content? We have to make things easy. I want things to be how they were originally, at least for a period of time. If you start things easy, you can't make them harder. It just doesn't work. But if you start them hard, you can make them easier.
You made this point the other day, and it was like a fair point. Sorry, go about like mop and stuff. What happens next?
I think that's fair though. Yeah. Go on, go, because you're probably going to have. Mine personally, if it was just for me, I would rather pre-nerf, preferably tuned as well. Not just pre-nerf. I'd rather them harder than pre-nerf. I'd want them akin to private servers, for me, personally. But for the health of the community and the longevity of the game, I just think easier content is what people want.
That's just what I was going to ask, Scott. So we've been bringing it up multiple times, like pre-nerf, post-nerf, but like, what is the difference? So we've got the beta. Maybe people have gone on there, they've done the raid testing. Like, what is the difference from what those players have seen on the beta to a pre-nerf state? Is it just
do you want me to reel off some facts, like as in what they actually are? All right.
Is it just mechanics? Like, what's the difference here that's going to make the content harder? Whereas, like, a weak aura that somebody's going to make isn't just going to.
A weak aura is not going to solve it. A weak aura is not going to solve it.
Okay.
So we're
that's
talking.
My fear.
Well, no, we're talking like massive health reduction. So let me just use Neff as an example. So Nefarian health and melee damage is reduced by 20% post nerf. Animated Bone Warriors take 33 seconds to fall down from 50, so they need kiting for a lot longer, and you get few animated Bone Warriors spawn. Blast Nova cast time has been increased, so it's a lot easier to interrupt. Electrocute damage has been reduced by 30%, which is like the stack up and every electrocute we use in a raid cooldown to counter that damage. Like 30% off of one of the biggest raid healing requirement parts of the fight. Onyxia's health and melee damage reduced by 20%. Tau lash damage has been reduced by 50%. We're talking like these are massive reductions. Like the difference between pre-nerf and post-nerf is huge, obviously. But that's just Nefarian as an example. Like, I could pick any other random boss. Chimeron, health reduced by 20%, melee damage reduced by 10%. Chimeron will now only cast 2 caustic slimes per 30-second cycle. I'm just picking random ones just so you get the idea. It's pretty much 20% health across the board. Cho'Gall, 20% less damage, basically by everything, and everything's got 20% less health. Like anything that does significant damage, you know, these things where they need to be interrupted or you need to coordinate raid cooldowns, they just now are like, oh, it's all right, it'll go off and we'll just heal through it. You know, it removes the organization required to kill the boss. And obviously, yeah, with health reduced as well, kill time shorter, it's all of them are significantly easier.
So Jay and Willie were talking about the health of the bosses, and it felt like it was what 30% you guys were saying. Like, what was that you guys were mentioning?
But I think I only talk for ourselves, but I think that was kind of feely craft more than actually going and looking. But
yeah,
for how long the fights were lasting,
a noticeable difference. Yeah, even if the health values were higher, with the damage nerfs that have been in the raids, the fights would still feel better because you just have to play cleaner or your healers go home.
Yeah. So you could leave the damage nerfs in, but put the healths at pre-nerf values. I like the way I feel is just the big abilities, where you have to counter them in some way or you die. Like, they're the ones that have the biggest impact. You know, when you can just go, well, fuck it, we'll just throw an extra healer at it. You know, then it's like, it's still, arguably too easy. But when I say too easy, there's still going to be loads of guilds that won't be able to do heroic even in a post-nerf state, because there's still a big learning curve to all of these bosses. And I'm not saying we are going to get post-nerf. You know, we very well could get pre-nerf, and that will please some people, piss some people off. But with the increased cadence and everything, they might just be like, well, they're still seeing people that can't kill Lich King heroic. They're seeing people who have killed Lich King heroic week in, week out, you know, for the last God knows how many weeks, still wiping on it as well. I don't know what they're thinking, because they won't tell us.
So we've also started quite a dangerous precedent here. And we've talked about this before. I know this has been something that has been discussed in different places before, but it's almost expected now that, like, people full clear heroic and they get out of a phase in full bis. Like, that was never the case back in the day. And I know, like, it's such a hard thing to relate it to that because, you know, things have just changed massively. But, like, it really isn't an expectation that people would walk out of a raid in every single, like, bis item. So it's kind of annoying because normal is supposed to be that level, right? Where, you know, you walk in and get to experience, you start learning the boss tactics, and then heroic, you're increasing the health, increasing the damage, and maybe adding one mechanic. But we don't ever seem to have that natural progression anymore because, well, normal is almost looked down upon.
Yeah,
I don't know what my point is here. I just don't like it.
That is a point. That is
normal.
A point.
Normal should serve a purpose, right? It should be you get used to the raid, you have an introduction to it, you get some gear, you see what it's all about, and then if you get to a point where your raid says, we're enjoying this content, but we want something harder, you do heroic. Maybe that step up was too big, but you got to give people a challenge at some point. It could just be the difficulty curve wasn't where it should have been, perhaps as well. And it wasn't obvious which route you should take through the raids because there is 3 of them. And depending on your raid size, your comp, and the raid you pick, you're going to have wildly different experiences in Tier 11.
And I imagine... Sorry, go on, Scott.
No, I was just going to say, and like even in a post-nerf state, I still think you'll see people pull, I don't know, let's say Omnitron, they'll do like 10 pulls on it or something and go, let's just kill this one on normal and go and get to some bosses that we know we're going to get down on heroic. You know, sort of same as what people was probably doing in Alduar with hard modes. Yeah, it was like, we'll skip this one this week, we'll work on that next week, and Yeah, like don't worry about Mimiron. We'll just kill it on normal. I still think even in a post-nerf state, the majority of guilds, not the minority, will be very picky and choosy over what heroic bosses they're actually killing.
I feel like there's so many different knobs right now on trying to tune the difficulty because
I thought you meant on this podcast.
No. Different knob. I use knob as a proper knob.
Are you knob weaving conversations again?
Yeah. But like we're going into tier 11 with tier 13 tuning of classes, so that's one knob. And then we've got the experience of we know we need to farm archaeology right now. Like we know we need to get these 359 like epics to go into raid. We're probably going to have the Darkmoon Fair trinkets available for the first raid blockout. We know all this heroic gear that we need to get. And like we're just going to be going into the phase a lot better prepped to begin with. So like how is the tuning supposed to compare to that knowledge of the player base?
I don't know. Sorry, I was still thinking about knobs. What was?
I thought you were doing archaeology. I thought you were digging.
No. The main thing I personally took away from all what you just said there is that all the classes are in their final patch state. That instantly makes us like all the classes in general more balanced in terms of general output is going to be higher than it would have been in 4.0, like across the board. Maybe not for specific classes, because you got to remember, like at the start of 4.0, there could have been classes that were doing obscene numbers, and then they were getting nerfed over the weeks. Before you got that nice balance when you was in the final patch state. But I would say across the board, the output damage-wise will be higher. So, and like you say, knowing we're going to be all farming like crazy to get Darkmoon cards, we're going to be doing archaeology to make sure we've got our 359s. We know we're going to be, making sure that we're killing the rares to get the 359 BOEs. Like, there's so much that we're going to be doing that we wouldn't have done, that we're going to be going in the raid already, like, probably twice as fucking powerful as we was back in the day. And just more knowledgeable, much better with weak auras, much better at very quickly sharing raid packs for, to counter mechanics that would have once been an absolute pain in the arse. Prime example, one of the issues last night on Lich King 25 Heroic, like Go laughed about, was shadow traps. People were so reliant on a weak aura to tell you to move with a shadow trap that there was probably 2 or 3 wipes just of range getting knocked off because of a shadow trap.
There was like 5 or 6.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever there was.
Fucking livid last night, dude. I was like, oh.
But
I like the fact
Lich King. I didn't have my weak auras for the defile, and usually I'm on a warlock, so I'm just sitting at the side anyway. I don't really care. But I was there on my paladin in melee range, and I was like, oh god, please don't put it on me. I'm
I like the fact
worried right now.
I like the fact that Scott specifically said ranged, as if melee didn't get blown off the platform.
Oh yeah, and melee. I know.
Was getting launched. It was fucking biblical how many people were getting launched off the platform. The first shadow trap was ranged. I was the only. Maybe there was one other ranged. I was one of the only maybe 2 that moved out of that first shadow trap.
I moved out.
Broken.
I moved out with you.
It was probably you and me, and like 8 to 10 people just got launched off the platform because weak auras didn't work. And I was like, "Are you guys shitting me? This raid's 30 weeks old. It's 15 years old.
So
but
the
30 weeks of this
the problem is
version of it.
The problem is when you've got the weak aura, you move. You move like when you know that it's on you. Oh, not necessarily you, but you know that it's on a range. It clearly announces that it's near you. Whereas the real way to do it is you move on every shadow trap. So shadow trap comes in, you all move. So when that first shadow trap came in, you moved first. Admittedly, you moved first, and then I started moving afterwards, and no one else did. I was like, was it on ranged? And I started doubting myself because that's not how we've been doing Lich King. But that's what I mean. We do these fights differently because of weak auras. So even the way that that I see us doing tier 11 will probably change with weak auras because you will minimize movement. And then as soon as it just goes to show the reliance, but it also goes to show how it can be a crutch. A simple mechanic that everyone should be able to do. You remove that crutch, and now you're watching people die left, right, center. So, tier 11 is remembered as being very, particularly difficult and all that. But when we've got the knowledge and the ability to share weak auras like we have now, even in a pre-nerf state, some of these bosses where we're like, oh, that was fucking easy. Compared to what we remember.
Omnitron is the prime example. I probably did. I don't remember how many pulls it was on original Omnitron back in the day, but I'm gonna easily say it was 100 or 200. To maybe not for our first kill, but to get Omnitron down properly, because you have to remember every combination of bosses. It's not just one boss that you have to remember the thing of. It was a fight that I was particularly bad at. Yet now you just download a weak aura and it tells you spread or stack.
Yeah.
The weak aura for Omnitron makes the entire fight a joke.
See, and I hate the weak auras. I hate DBM. I went into ICC last night without either of those. I had details, and that was just to show the stream what my damage and everybody else's damage was. If not, I would have been completely fine going in there, no add-ons at all, and just crushing through ICC. Ruby Sanctum 2 was my first time. I fucked up on Ruby Sanctum. I got asked to go up to res Scotty because Scotty fucking died. And then what happened?
Yeah, but you know why I died, don't you? Tank couldn't hold aggro up the top. I pressed combust on the bot. It was a big combust as well. I combusted the boss, and then when he had spawn, I spreaded it, and every single ad just went, nope, not today. I didn't even get time to press ice block. Literally, there was no reaction time. It was just spread combust, boom, dead instantly. But yeah, I was talking to the mages in party chat about it afterwards, and was I just shot my load too early. I got excited. It was there's a big combust, I've got to press it. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Go. I mean, if people would have seen Syndragosa for me last night, you would have thought I've never played the game before. Because when we obviously, me and Jay have been doing loads of 10-mans and stuff on alts and shit over the last week as well. So I went in and turned, I didn't just delete the weak auras because I thought, well, I might sit there at some point and sort them out. But I just disabled them, all of them. So all I was raiding with was DBM. In all the 10-man heroics we've done, over the last week, I was just raiding purely with DBM. And then when we got to Syndragosa last night, everything turned on. I had Thames, Foges, Foges anchors all over the place, DBM, and my entire screen was one big weak aura. So I was stood at the back of the room because I was yep. I don't know whether I've got a tomb on me. I don't know whether I've got stacks. I just could not tell the difference between anything. Yeah, that was so bad. If someone was watching me and just watching me stand at the back of the room, more or less dancing, I was I don't know what to do.
We were trying to do the achievement on Syndragosa where nobody takes more than 5 or 6 stacks, and we downed the boss, and we were we didn't get the achievement. Who fucked up? Who got the stacks? And Scott,
yeah,
was
it weren't,
guys.
It weren't just me. It weren't just me. There was 8 people dead. Go yeah. It weren't me that fouled it, but I was the only one who was man enough to say. I definitely would have got more stacks because I couldn't see what I was fucking doing.
And yeah, I blamed you directly for me not having my mount right now.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, anyway, what was we talking about? Raid difficulty.
Raid difficulty.
So, Go, have you got any thoughts then? Because I feel like you're the only one that I've not really heard a great deal out of in terms of, post-nerf, pre-nerf. What are your thoughts?
Somebody had commented on Mage's video about Ulduar feeling kind of good, and that was the same dance that he did at the start of the video too. If you want to see it again and replay it over and over again, the dance is incredible. But Ulduar felt kind of nice, but I don't know how to replicate that just for my personal experience. There was some progression. There was Memoron was one fight. Freya was kind of iffy week to week. But there were some bosses in there that were pretty facial. You'd go in there, you'd smash half the content, and then maybe the second half was a little bit of a challenge where you didn't down it first week if you were in a more casual guild. And I don't know how they could solve that situation, but I came up with a couple of suggestions of things that they might be able to do. It might not happen for tier 11. They probably already got some stuff like set in stone for that, but maybe for like Firelands or the tier 13, they could do something. But I was thinking, like, what if they lowered the item level of the heroic gear? So like we're supposed to go into it with 346 heroic dungeon gear. What if they lowered that down to 333? Maybe they would have to then lower the item level of the normal gear from 333 down to something smaller than that.
Do we really want to go down that rabbit hole again with what they've done with TOGC?
All of the eye level change of stuff, yes. Like, because they did that change for Wrath, and you could say it was a good thing or it was a bad thing, but should that be something that they carry over into Cata? Should they adjust at item
I'd say
levels?
Get fucked would be my honest response.
I want to come out on record and say it was a bad idea, and you should stop talking.
I want to say go. It was a fair point. I appreciate what you just said, but leave.
Well, let me send it to Willie. And if Willie agrees with me, I'm sending it to you. If you don't, then no, fuck you too. Like, fuck all three of you guys.
The loot system in Old War was bad.
Oh, that's fair. Go ahead.
But it wasn't just increased item level. It was the hard mode loot system was just terrible. Like one extra item. Are you kidding me? And then tier sets were garbage because they boosted all the off-piece items. Like, why wasn't there an upgrade token like there is an ICC?
Yeah, you're running around with 232 gear and 252 trinkets.
Yeah, if they put a heroic upgrade token on hard mode bosses, they're guaranteed dropped. They just copy paste the ICC system. Alduar would have been automatically a better raid for me.
Well, that went well for you, Go.
Yeah. Any other really good thoughts, Go?
Yeah. This is a perfect one. Like, you guys are all going to agree. Like, I went from like the worst suggestion to this is going to be the best suggestion. I might have a couple like mid suggestions, but what if the normal modes dropped one piece of heroic eye level loot per boss?
No.
I think you should definitely pack your bags and fuck off now.
Wait, come on. That's a fair compromise. Like, you're doing the normal modes, but you're not like completely gimped of getting the best loot. You still have the chance to high roll and get the best loot by only doing normals. And it's not going to set you that far behind or anything like that. So I think
why?
Like a good middle ground.
But what is the reason?
Yeah, but you're trying
That's what I want.
Sorry, you're trying to solve the loot problem, not the progression problem.
No, it's both, because it's going to help you get better gear to help you progress faster in a normal mode situation. So if you only do normal modes and you're only you're limited to that item level of normal mode gear, then it's going to take you quite a long time to catch up to the heroic people that are getting the heroic loot every week. Can
I turn on Toxic, Scott, just for one sentence, and then I'll go and get a beer? If you want, if you're not good enough, yeah, we can keep this VOD. This is not toxic towards you. This is toxic towards the people that you're talking about. If you're not good enough to do heroic raids, you're probably not that bothered about getting heroic loot. As in, you're not doing normal because like you find normal more fun or whatever. You might be doing normal because yourself. You're like, I'm not good enough to be doing heroic and joining these sweaty guilds. So you're like happy with normal gear. Normal gear comes from normal. Heroic gear comes from heroic. That's it. It's as simple as that. If you want heroic gear, you either need to put the hours in and get better to be able to join heroic raids and get heroic gear, or you need to pay lots of money and go and join GDKPs, be absolute dog shit, and buy all the gear anyway with real monies. They're your two options.
So let me throw a Go idea out to the world.
Oh, don't, because I want you to leave as well.
Agree. I fucking agree. But Jay, whatever you're about to say is fucking brilliant.
I don't know that you're going to think it is. They're definitely not going to do it for tier 11. Right, it's too late for that.
Yeah.
But go along the routes of, and before people shoot me down, let me finish the sentence. Titan Rune dungeons for raids and have not catch-up gear, but like fucking a cosmetic item. Challenge mode raids. Like, you can have pre-raid, post-nerf raids on heroic, so it's still progression. You're still going to get the loot, but it's not impossible, right? And then you have mythic, whatever you want to call it, but something that isn't gear, but is like, if people want to go and do and flex how good raiders they are, there's a title or a mount.
That's not a go idea. That's a great idea. That's not a go idea. Revolves around getting loot. Like, a go idea means give me loot for free and as easy as possible. Your idea is let's get some challenging content in the game that can please those that want a real big challenge and want to flex with their title or their mount or their tabard or their transmog set.
Yeah.
Like, that's beautiful. Yes, please. Yeah, you can put every raid in at post-nerf, but then add challenge mode raids. They can be 10 and 25 or just 25, just 10, whatever they are, I would do them. Like, I would be all over that shit.
Gear's not free when I have to struggle through people not getting out of shadow trap.
Right? Is in typically so far we've had different loot in 10 and 25. That's not the case anymore. It's just heroics a bit better.
I love that though.
Yeah, same. So like, if you're doing normals, it's not really a big deal. It's not like an item's missing from the drop table or something. Like,
yeah,
it's fine.
But this again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like, there's a really big stigma in the community that if you've got normal gear, you're just a bad player and you shouldn't be, like, you know. If you saw a normal phylactery, I did it. I had a normal DFO for a period of time on a character and shit a brick the amount of people that thought it was just a completely wasted item. But it's like, it's still like third bis behind a heroic version and a phylactery. Like, there's just a bit massive stigma, but I don't think they're going to change the stigma. They've reinforced that so heavily now. And I think we're approaching this in the wrong way by looking at it as a loot issue. I don't think it's even a loot issue. It's a progression issue. People want to kill the bosses. And that's the bit that people are either worried about, in that it's going to be too hard for them to kill the bosses, or it's not going to be hard enough and they're just going to roll it. You know, and there's no progression or feeling there. Like, well, I'll use you as an example. I'm sure you don't mind. Like, I'm pretty sure I can say comfortably you wanted the progression, right? Like, you wanted to go in there and kill the bosses and for the bosses to feel like they're worth something.
Yeah.
The loot is just a byproduct of that. So we're looking at the wrong side of the coin. We're looking at the loot. The loot isn't the issue. People want the fights, the bosses.
Yeah, and that's why I like what D-Nerf just said. I think that's an amazing... Like, imagine having mythic raids in Cata where they are actually... They're all the same bosses, but everything is far more punishing. They're killable, but, you know, you miss that interrupt, someone's going to die. You know, you don't use a raid cooldown on this ability, someone's going to die. And they drop exactly the same loot as heroic. But, you know, if you kill all the bosses in the tier on this mythic difficulty, you get a transmog set. Or you get a title, or you get whatever. But then, at the same time, then you could be doing Magmore Mythic and be like, man, like, we need more gear before we can fucking do this. Then you set it to Heroic, and you're getting exactly the same loot as you would have been anyway. You know, so you can almost work on this sort of Mythic/challenge difficulty, you know, on a boss-by-boss basis over the course of the phase, over the course of the expansion or whatever. You know, like, that would be a happy medium.
Yeah, I just want to mention as well. Like, yeah, Mage's saying I'm not a loot-driven player. Loot is a vehicle to kill bosses. Like, when I'm in Bis, that's nice. I can do more damage. I can pass and stuff. But like, this is why I'm going for the trinkets from Archaeology in the pre-patch. It's because I feel like it will matter. This is why, like, Radiant Vanilla, for example, with the million world buffs and stuff. Like, who cares? You're just beating up a target dummy in 30 seconds. It doesn't feel like you're being rewarded for the effort you're putting in. I want to be, you know, have a decent challenge for putting in the effort. I want it to feel worthwhile rather than just another slot machine where I hit an easy boss and it gives me purple items. And there's enough versions of WoW where I can do that already.
Yeah, I agree. And Tim, you know, that's the unfortunate truth. He said, I don't think the devs are going to lend any developer power to ideas like this. I mean, that is the unfortunate truth. But if they did, they could could make Cata great.
Mythic thing, no, but yeah. I mean, pre-nerf would be good enough to achieve that, but yeah, there's
I genuinely
hiring posts we've seen as well for like QA and stuff. I don't know,
Yeah.
but they seem pretty understaffed at the moment for all the projects they have regarding Classic.
I don't think, and again, I'm not a developer by any means. I see what private servers can do and how quick they can turn it around, and they are small teams. Like, you could do the same idea as what we see on private servers already, where it's like pre-raid plus 20% dampening, right? It has 20% more health, does 20% more damage. Like, that's all they do. They don't add mechanics or anything like that. It is purely an aura buff and pre-raid. I don't think that takes much development power. It would take the power to add the achievement or design a set or something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's so many cool things. And what Scott said is absolutely right. I don't think we're ever going to see any of this in Cata. It's purely hypothetical. But it would be so amazing, wouldn't it? Like, it would, and it could roll over quite easily into the other tiers of Cata and MOP all very easily. But yeah, I agree. I don't think we're going to see it.
And I just want to mention too regarding raid difficulty and why not go and play retail. Like, retail is objective. If you want difficulty, retail is the place to go. Why am I not going to retail? Pretty much because I played this game back in the day, had a lot of fun with it, and I want to do it again. And retail is different from Cataclysm. If you play it, you'll realize it's very, very different. It's challenging, yes, but it's different.
And I'm exactly the same. The whole MOP remix thing got me, Willie, with people was like, oh, MOP, like, you love MOP, like, you should go play MOP remix. And I looked and was like, there's evokers on it. It's got the new talent system. Like, you're literally playing retail in Mr. Pandaria. Like, it's not not even close to the same thing.
People give Cata grief and stuff, but throughout my class video series, I found myself saying very often, this is how it plays in Wrath with a little bit extra. Because it really is. There's just a little bit extra on a lot of the classes. Some of them have had pretty big reworks, like Paladin or Warlock. But even Hunter has had a resource change, but Marksmanship Hunter... not marksmanship, sorry, survival is still very similar to how it is in Wrath, and a number of other specs are like that, like, I don't know, Assassination Rogue, Affliction Lock, maybe. I don't know, there's quite a few of them.
And you got people saying...
It does feel somewhat similar.
Yeah, I think it is, like, they say, the classic trilogy is vanilla to Wrath, and it's really not. It goes to Cata. Like, Cata is... I think MOP is where it changes drastically, but I still think for the better. Like, I really like MOP. I've made that abundantly clear in many podcasts and videos. But you've got people saying like, "Oh, Cata ruined the world," and those people are sat in fucking Dalaran. Like, well, do you go out and see the world? Do you? Like,
I was saying this to someone in the guild the other day. Since Cataclysm's come out in the pre-patch, I've spent more time in Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor than I have throughout TBC and Wrath combined doing archaeology. Maybe that's not a good thing, but
but I tell you what, the world feels alive.
There's more to the game than there being a tornado in Westfall or there not being a tornado in Westfall. Like, I'm a big fan of the old world. I think the old questing in vanilla was great, but there's just more to it than that. It's the whole experience. It's class balance, the systems that are in the game, talents, the lot. It's just the overall thing, not just one particular aspect of the game which makes it classic or not.
I've never seen so many people in the old world, though. Like, honestly, like, it's crazy.
If you're leveling, people are dive bombing you non-stop.
I do hate the big, like, area in Barrens that you can't get across while you're leveling. That's the one thing I hate about it.
Well, you can go around the edge, can't you? You can sort of get round. You just need to know where to go.
Running. Yeah, it's just a lot of running. I also do hate the fact that I'm not on a PvP server, because I would never have leveled Archaeology, but I would have had the greatest time in the world right now.
Yeah.
I was in STV and I got flagged because there was the dig site at the Gorobashi Arena, and then I like went to the edge of the thing, still doing my stuff, and I'm horde, and an alliance came up, and we were both flagged, and we were both trying to like search at the same dig site, but we were just kind of like, yeah, you do you. Like good luck on your solve, and like we didn't attack each other at all, and I was like, oh yes, perfect. But I was ready. I was like, if this fuck attacks me, he's going down. But it was like a mutual agreement. We were like, yeah, we're doing archaeology. Like, let's just do our little dig site and move on.
I've seen exactly one person be flagged during my PvP, and we killed each other probably 5 times each.
Yeah, I'm on PvE as well. So it's not too much flagging, but I'm happy with that. I'm out here digging.
Yeah, don't interrupt my digging.
That's no problem.
Anything else on raids before we move on to the second topic, which will be the last topic?
I mean, I had a couple other suggestions. I don't know if they're really good.
For fuck's sake.
But you guys didn't agree with my first one, so you probably won't agree.
Oh, go on, let's just hear it anyway.
If he says LFR, I'm leaving the podcast. I just want this to be known.
I'm just trying to like, because I know you guys want like a harder tier 11, and I don't think that they're really going to give it to us. Like maybe they would increase the XP from what we saw in the beta, but I was trying to think earlier of like what changes they could do to make tier 11 a bit harder than us just getting full 3, 4, 6 eye level with a couple of 3, 5, 9 eye level epics. So it's like, what if they gated or lowered the item level of the rep gear from the new reps? So it's not like you get exalted and then you get an epic piece from the Twilight Highlands rep or something like that.
Who wants to punch him first? Like, I mean, I wouldn't mind going first. A nice open-handed slap.
Eye level scaling, like
the eye level scaling in Cata is perfect. Literally perfect. It's the smoothest.
Okay.
It's the smoothest curve of eye level that we've seen to date.
I've been waiting for that clip. Thank you, Scotty.
No, it is.
And then the other thing would be like the crafted gear, because there's 2 leather crafted gears pieces for me as a balanced druid from leatherworking that I can get for pre-raid. So it's like there's 2 pieces there. There's like 3 or 4 pieces from reputation that I can get. There's a couple of world drop epics. Like there's just so much epic 359 gear pieces that I have access to. So it's like if that was limited, then that would be one way that they could make the raid a little bit harder, because we wouldn't be able to go in there completely fucking stacked out of our minds.
Oh, I mean, I've got a way they can make the raids harder, and this is going to be a really bad take. Like, no one's going to agree with me in chat. But they could just do pre-nerf and leave everything else the same.
Whoa.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They could do pre-nerf and leave everything else the same.
Dev time wise, what's harder to do? Say,
changing a million fucking items.
No, we're taking these items off of your trainer. Oh yeah, let me just click these off for a month, and then I can re-click these back on. Or I have to sit there and like read through patch notes and see what the original value was for this spell, and then go make sure that it's working properly on the client. Oh, it hasn't got beta tested. Do I have a team that can go beta test this for me? I don't know.
Right.
Get out.
Tell me
They broke leveling battlegrounds that were already working. How do you think that they're going to take anything off a vendor and not just delete the vendor? Or, suddenly we're going to be able to buy Dragon Soul gear, or X thing bad is going to happen?
I would trust them removing something from a vendor more than changing something to a boss fight. I feel like they would break a fucking encounter if they tried to change something. With
no, but we've had pre-nerf, like Willie said, we've had pre-nerf in every classic expansion so far, and post-nerf. We had pre-nerf TKSSC, we had post-nerf TKSSC. So they can do it, and I feel like trying to find any workarounds outside of just saying, do we want harder content? Let's have pre-nerf. Do we want it easier at some point? Then implement a patch at some point halfway through the phase where it's post-nerf. Boom, job done. Don't fuck with item levels again like you did in Alderweireld, because that was the shittest thing they've ever done since Classic 2019. Yes, I know their reasoning for it. I still don't agree with it, but I understand their reasoning for it. with the big spike between Alduar and TOGC. I mean, no one would really want to go back to Alduar, but that's fine. You know, TOGC would have been the perfect time to just raid log on about 5 or 6 different characters if that's what you wanted to do. Like, I don't want them fucking with item level. It's perfect. 359 into 372, 372 into 378, 378 into 391, you know, and then up to 408. Like, it's
410.
Was it 410? Right. Well, I think 40. Or is it 406? Is 406 is normal?
I saw a bunch of different item levels.
I only know because I went and looked at this last night.
410. I thought for some reason it was 406, 408.
I know specifically the Dragon Soul trinkets on Heroic are 410.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh shit. And I think the weapons are 416, aren't they? From Madness. I'm fairly sure they're 416. The weapons, the same way the rag weapons are higher eye level as well in Firelands.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I've got a question about raiding. Did they, you know, the ICC 30% buff, was that in Dragon Soul too?
Oh God, no. I'm gonna say no.
I don't remember any.
What about
any
the
debuff.
Chill of the Throne for the dodge chance? Was that was in it, right?
No.
Oh, I think it was. It was in Dragon Soul.
Two things were.
Yeah, I'm sure Dragon Soul had the 20% dodge. I'm fairly sure.
I'll be okay. The dodge one, I'm not sure about, just because everyone used block tanks because you could be unblockable, unhittable. But I don't know about the dodge one. I'm pretty sure the 30% wasn't in though.
Yeah, I don't remember a damage buff or anything like that, but yeah, I do remember there being a dodge nerf.
Yeah, I seem to remember one of the two.
Although now you say that,
tanks always went crazy at the end of expansion, so I know they always kind of nerfed that. Since
now you
say, wasn't it?
I remember grouping like the heroic first boss up and just nuking it down at one point in Dragon Soul, and I'm not sure if that was just because. You've got me really questioning my life now.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron's just said he remembers down in Spine after 5% nerf. Dragon Soul is honestly where my knowledge is absolute the least, because normally by the end of Firelands I'm not playing that private server. I might do 1 or 2 clears of Dragon Soul and that's it. So yeah, like definitely it's where my knowledge is the least. Yeah, exactly.
Where is
he onto a different server?
I'm not sure either.
In Classic, Scott will have just re-rolled to his rogue by then.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah, if there is a 30%, then, you know, if we do raids pre-nerf, we could put that in other raids too. I think that's okay.
Oh, like put that in tier 11.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the cadence. Like if it came in after a month and a half, and then there was another month and a half to 2 months, so you have 6 resets of progression, and then 6 to 8 of we kind of expect you to clear it now. Then again, it wouldn't ramp up. It would just be you'd flip a switch, and the bosses would go through progression to we're just smashing this content.
I found the original post.
A month and a half.
It didn't. I found the original post. It didn't work like ICC. It was a stacking 5% health and damage nerf to all Dragon Soul bosses, stacking over the following weeks. So it weren't damage and healing and absorbs to us. It was health and damage lost to them.
It was them, not us, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it could also be disabled. You could turn it off like you could in ICC.
Tell me one person who turned that off in ICC.
I did. I turned it off just to test it. It worked for a video.
Yeah.
I don't know. This sounds okay. You gradually nerf the bosses. That sounds okay for other raids. We can have some progression, some good progression, and we can tone things down later.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, that's what people want.
Yeah, I like that.
I definitely think
that would be a happy compromise for me.
I definitely think it's about as good of a middle ground as we're going to get. The only thing I don't like about that system is you get your BIS gear, and the bosses are like ridiculously like 30% nerfed, and all of a sudden the bosses just fall over. Like, how many people have actually paid attention to Rotface and Festagut since we've had the 30% buff?
But after this amount of time,
it's not really for you, because I know what you mean. Like we do ICC now, and You just like one heal Sourfang and you just blast everything. There's been guilds out there who stacked fire mages and done like no throne room on Lich King. But it
sounds hilarious.
It's not really a buff for me or you. It's for the people who haven't cleared it.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind that throughout all the tiers. Actually, I'd be all for that. A stacking 5% damage and health nerf over X amount of weeks up until 30%.
Yeah.
Every tier it's added. Everyone gets the best of everything. Then.
I like that better than like seeing myself
Any of
do
yours.
extra gram. No. Well, maybe, but like seeing myself do extra damage, like the ICC buff, and then we go to the next raid tier, and then it's like, well, I just lost that buff, and now I'm going to do less damage.
It's horrible. It's horrible going into RS after an ICC.
You're like, oh, where's my damage, man?
So scaling the bosses down would probably feel better. Yeah.
Oh, I definitely prefer it that way. Yeah.
And that's why I hate damage nerfs. So like when you were talking about private servers nerfing damage, I was like, I don't.
So private servers, it's called dampening, but they buff the boss's health and damage by 20%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was just my mistake then for the damage.
Yeah, it's just the term that gets used on private servers.
All right, Scotty, you had another topic to lead us into.
Yeah, well, we've got we'll just go into pre-patch, just everything pre-patch. Obviously, we've all been spending a lot of time in it, doing very similar things, but just want to get everyone's views on, how the pre-patch has been, how it's been handled, fixes that are going out, what we've been spending our time doing. Is it long enough? Is Go just those sort of things. Yeah.
You kind of cut off there. Is Go a what?
It was just something that must have been at the end of my notes, unintentionally. It's cool.
Oh, go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, so the pre-patch came out, and it's probably one of the most buggiest patches I've seen in World of Warcraft ever. Like, it was genuinely so bad. I don't know. It was just awful. Like, there's some really, really basic stuff, which I'm sure we all reported on the PTR. Like, you have to use a script to leave dungeons. You lose abilities when you change spec. And the profession windows, apparently Inquisition is now something that's tied to fishing, which is, news to me.
Healing Rain is Archaeology as well, which I was very excited about.
It was kind of embarrassing, but they've communicated nothing. Like, the communication's been absolutely dire as well. But they have been fixing things, which is, nice and needed. And as things stand now, about a week or so after the pre-patch has come out, I'd say it's generally in a pretty good state, and it's been enjoyable to play. Obviously, class balance is all over the place. I've not done much raiding. I've just done my paladin that I'm planning to play. I've been doing a lot of archaeology, which has been, I don't know, surprisingly fun.
I'm with you.
I don't mind it so much. Everyone's kind of online and they're grinding something. And like, when someone gets lucky, you're like, congrats. When someone gets too lucky, you're like, fuck you. All that good stuff. But yeah, no, it's been good.
You don't happen to have a dig week or yet, do you?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm. Let's see how many I'm at now.
No. That's not kind of the week aura. Scott, why don't you tell me the kind of week aura? Because I hate it.
All right, so I made a week aura that's kind of like really gone a bit too far in the guild now, where basically any time anyone would mention archaeology, I just said dig in guild chat. But then it slowly grew.
One of them.
Yeah, people tried to find ways around it, so they'd say dug instead of dig. They'd say dig in Chinese. They'd say, like, all of these different things. And every time I saw someone try and find a way around it, I'd add it to the week aura. So now no one can talk about archaeology in guild chat without it getting spammed to shit by everyone.
And it's like,
that's what it's all about.
If you say like fossil or something like that too, I feel like that's like one of the trigger words, but it's just the same thing as like the bruh weak aura. Like somebody says bruh and it just spams your whole like guild, or it would spam your battleground with bruhs. It's now just dig, and then people have modified the response from dig to like other stuff. So it's like it's kind of neat for like 5 minutes, And then now, if somebody posts something in the guild chat and then there's 10 digs and it fills up the chat, I'm like, I don't care what the fuck that guy just said. I'm not going to scroll up and read it. Like, no.
I think my personal opinion is I actually think they fucked up by allowing us to be able to get the 359s in the pre-patch. Whilst I know it's good, you know, you're essentially doing some pre-raid preparation now during the pre-patch. I feel like it might have ruined. I feel like it's ruined the pre-patch a little bit for me. Even though I'm not, I'm enjoying it because, you know, I'm just chilling off stream watching Bones, which I just started, by the way. Anyone, if you've seen Bones, it's actually really good. I'm on like season 6 now. But I've just been watching Bones and doing Archaeology. Like, that is literally all I've been doing. But I wanted to level a couple of characters. I wanted to be doing like all the raids on various different characters. I wanted, like, there's so much that I could be doing that would be more fun. But because I know, like, I'm a slave to making sure I get as many of these items as possible, yeah, I feel like it's maybe ruined the pre-patch a little bit for me and for other people, because it's just turned into a fucking archaeology simulator rather than us enjoying the 20 days that we've got with our broken classes.
I agree.
What would you enjoy your class? Like, outside of the raids, like, what would you be doing?
Well, I want to level another paladin. I want to finish my rogue from 62. Leveling. I want to level my DK. I want to be doing BGs on my paladin. Like, there's loads of things that I'd like to do during the pre-patch that I'm never going to get the chance to do again. You know, I'm never going to be in the pre-patch state on my mage, being able to go in a BG and combust someone and watch them, like, literally get deleted.
Good.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? There's things that I could be experiencing where I've only got 20 days to do it, but instead I'm sort of held hostage by a fucking shovel. That's, again, just my opinion. Yeah. I know there'll be other people who are like, well, no, this is great. I never had anything to do anyway. Like, cool, you know, each to their own. But I just feel like we could have had a bit more fun during the pre-patch rather than all of us just on our own running around doing archaeology.
I think there's one more big thing to bring up is that this isn't the Cataclysm pre-patch. We just didn't get it. We went straight to post-shattering world. We didn't have like the doomsayers with the sandwich boards and stuff, and then whatever else happened. I don't remember it too well. It was like elemental invasions, I think. Mm-hmm. We just didn't get the Cataclysm pre-patch, pretty much. They just skipped it because, I guess, development time. There's more pressing things to be doing than, you know, a 2-week event or something.
Yeah, I know their event schedules were screwed going from like a classic vanilla into TBC. That was a whole shit show. It's like they launched the what was it, the plague events and stuff, and then there was like a timeline issue where they were like, oh yeah, well, it was an issue where one team wasn't on board with the other team, and it launched and it was like a week early and it wasn't supposed to happen like this. So maybe it was just something like that for this, and they were like, we don't want to deal with it because it might not launch correctly because of internal. I think they just ran out of time.
Calendars. They were like, look, it's a temporary thing. Screw it. We'll have at least we have Deathwing flying across zones, one-shotting you while you're trying to do archaeology. That's like the best we can do.
That still is my favourite part of pre-patch so far.
I've got PTSD, man.
Is logging in at 10 a.m. in the morning after already being hungover for 2 days and having a condition that we have to drink when we die. So we've logged in, just woke up, no alcohol in us. Well, no alcohol from that day in our system, and Scott teleports to Blasted Land to do some archaeology for 20 minutes and gets killed by Deathwing.
So it's 10 a.m. I'm hanging out my ass. I've had 4 hours sleep, and I had to do a fucking Jaeger bomb at 10 a.m. in the morning as soon as I've just opened my eyes. And that's what I mean by PTSD. I was like, mate, this is not setting me up for a good day.
So was it bugged where you couldn't even see him or something like that for the first week or so? Because I actually saw Deathwing flying over, I don't want to say it incorrectly again, Gadgetzan. Gadgetsan. I say Gadgetsan. God damn it! I saw him. Like I saw the zone turned red for a second, and I was like, "Oh, Blood Moon, STV, something's about to happen." I got on my my flight form. I was in bat form, and I flew up, and then I was like, "I know this fucker's coming. I know fire's coming," and I actually saw him flying over the zone, but I didn't see that for the first week. I just saw fucking flames, and I was just dead. So
yeah, he don't last there
or...
very long. No, it's not a bug. He's not there very long. Yeah, sometimes you'll just I'll be doing archaeology and I'll just go to I don't know Burning Steps, and the where my dig site is just engulfed in flames, and there's no Deathwing around. I'm not quite sure exactly how long he hovers around for, but the good thing is though,
warning system.
You've got this until January next year. So I mean that's the good thing that you get to look forward to. This is not a pre-patch thing, just so everyone knows. Deathwing will be doing this until Dragon Soul launches.
There's been so many people saying,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, people are like, "I'm dead on a cliff. Can you come res me?" Like, I died on a mountain. I can't get back to my corpse. I need a res.
Who's up for Cataclysm Hardcore when we started?
Can you imagine? Actually, now you mentioned hardcore, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent, but when we have been talking about these changes that Blizzard could make, to actually make classic better, put a bit of the enthusiasm that they've got for Season of Discovery, putting a bit of that into classic and be like, yeah, we're going to give you challenge modes. We're going to give you some, we're going to do something different. This is not Cata. This is Cata Classic. This is with hashtag changes that they like to fucking talk about and then barely do anything. Season of Discovery, from what I've looked at in the last couple of days, is at a fucking all-time low in terms of the amount of people raiding. Its numbers are fucking scary. As in the week before, not that many people are raiding in the pre-patch. We're all doing archaeology. But the week before pre-patch, there was more people raiding on Wrath than there is currently on Season of Discovery. Is that not a bit scary with how accessible raiding is on Season of Discovery and how easy and quick it is to get to max level and jump in? I don't know. Does that not speak for itself that there was absolutely no new content in Wrath for fucking months and months and months, and it was fully neglected? Sod gets all these shiny changes and all this attention, but it's still not. Yeah, it was great at phase 1, booming. Phase 2, still doing pretty well. I feel like over the last few weeks, I'm not going to say dropped off a cliff, because I know there's a lot of people still enjoying it, but it's definitely nowhere near what it was.
That's what I was saying. It's week 5 of phase 3, and it's at that point. It's pretty low. It's below.
It's only week 5.
It's week 5 of phase 3.
I feel like it's been going on forever.
And that's what I was trying to mention earlier with the Cata raids, and we're going to be getting 12 to 16 weeks per raid tier, and no real content outside of those raids. And people are getting bored of SOD 4 or 5 weeks into those raid tiers. It's only one raid for those, but Firelands is.
But that is SOD though. There's just less to do. There's less competitive PvP. There's less real competitive PvE. There is just less to do. Let's be honest. But I look at how long ICC held up for versus Season of Discovery. Season of Discovery would never last with a phase lasting fucking 7 months. It's not physically possible. The game's not designed that way. My point is not to shit on Season of Discovery. My point is just it would be nice to get some of that experimentation and some of that, oh, look, we're going to try this. It might not work. I'd respect them so much for doing something with Cata that don't work, but trying, rather than nothing.
Let's shit on SOD, because they said they were going to bring everybody up to Warrior, and Warrior's still on fucking top. You haven't achieved that goal. It's phase 3. How many phases is it going to take?
In SOD, right, there's with Warrior, sorry, just random thing with Warriors, there's a boss, I think it takes triple damage in its final phase, and they put the Wrath of the Lich King version of Deep Wounds in the game, and the top warriors are having Deep Wounds tick for about 15k. When people have health bars that are 4k,
I'm really looking forward to people killing Ragnaros in 15 seconds, because it's going to happen. But so I was going to say that, I don't know what I was going to say. I've lost it. Fuck you, go.
I knew it was about me because I saw you over there laughing every time.
No, I remember. No, it's because you made a weird fucking noise. Is the first part that I started laughing
like,
at. Yeah, that is the exact noise you made, and I wasn't ready for it. The second part is I don't feel like we've got anyone like everyone shits on Agrand, and I don't know the guy, so I've not got any opinions about him. But like I know people mad shit talk him, but he's obviously passionate about season discovery, and like that's fair enough. Like it's obviously a business venture for him. They carry on, do whatever. I don't feel like there's anyone that's passionate about Cata.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need someone who's passionate about the future of classic, actual classic.
Go. I meant just in general.
I mean, we are. There's the four of us. There's Crix. There's Riani. There's Carrot.
Yeah, but we need like one dev. I agree, Jay. There just needs to be that one dev that's super vocal, wants to talk to us all, wants to try things, wants to sink some development time into doing different things. Like that would be lovely. And I do think they'll start to show it more attention when SOD finally does reach tipping point. Because I think it's coming. And do you know when I think it's going to come? Phase 4. Like, when the realization sinks into everyone where it's like, oh, we got Molten Core, like, but it's now 20-man. Same shit, but 20-man. Then we got Blackwing Lair, AQ. And it's like, how many months am I going to sit through the same shit raids that we've done 1,000 times, but, wow, you've added a mechanic to each or something. Like, I think the realization is going to sink in for a lot of people that it is actually fucking awful by the time that comes.
Yeah, I was I've had like a bunch of stuff to say about Season of Discovery. I was going to do in the video, but it's Cataclysm stuff took priority over it. But they just, I mean, the TLDR is if you want to do well in raids, you have to put a lot of effort to do so, and your reward is a 30-minute raid if you're in a good guild. And it's a seasonal server, which encourages you to play alts, and the game is incredibly alt unfriendly. So those two things are pushing people away hard. And they just threw an extra XP buff in the game, not going to do anything at all. It's really missing the mark on what the seasonal server needs. It's seasonal. Just make it alt friendly. Like, I know it's vanilla. Vanilla isn't alt friendly, but it's a seasonal server. It should be. Like, why do we have to go and do a 12-hour run around the world every time you want to get your runes on an alt? Just put them on a vendor or something. Beat it up. Make it alt friendly.
So what happens if SOD season 4 flops and Cata tier 11 phase tier? Hell fucking yeah, I'm drinking. I've been like you. I haven't drank since Friday. I had a 12-hour stream Friday. I went to sleep and I haven't recovered since because of that leveling session. So yeah, I've had some drinks tonight, Scott. Thanks for pointing it out.
It's noticeable.
Yeah, okay. But like, so say SOD phase 4 flops and Cata tier 11 or phase 1. I did the math. What if both of them flop? Like, what are people gonna do in Classic? Is that the end of Classic? Would
Cata
people even come back for MOP?
But I don't think Cata can flop. The people that are playing it now are gonna accept it, whether it's post-nerf or pre-nerf. Like me, like Willie, you want pre-nerf, but if we get post-nerf, are you gonna be like, well, I'm done? Because I just enjoy Cata, the class balance, the PvP. Like I would just shift my focus more to PvP than PvE. Done.
I probably won't play as many alts. That'll be it, though. I'll still raid it on a main character because I think the classes are fun to play. I just won't raid as much.
Jay, if it is post nerf, are you tapping out?
No, God no.
I'm not just excited about the Cata raids. Yes, the Cata raids are great, but I'm excited about everything else. Like even just doing heroics on different characters and. Yeah, I mean, PvP, I've got to admit, is one thing that I'm mega excited for. But that's a personal thing just because I haven't done a lot of PvP since 2019. So, like, that's going to keep me going for the entire expansion anyway. But, like, look now, we're not raiding, we're flying around digging. Like, there's things... like, you can find fun in... Like, I'll use MOP as an example. Even if all the raids in MOP were fucking piss easy... I'm going to have challenge modes. I'm going to have pet battles. I'm going to be playing the class that I absolutely love. You know, I am the biggest fucking monk fanboy, and trust me, anyone who's watching, this channel may take a turn in MOP. You know, I'll be putting out so many monk videos. Like, I love monk at every spec. I'll probably have 3 or 4 monks in MOP. Like, I won't even bother with any other classes. You know, like, I'm looking forward. I'm not like sitting worrying about what's happening now. I'm very much looking forward to MOP and to all the stuff outside of raids. I'm not like, oh, if the raids are too easy, that's it for me, because that's sort of just a side part of the game. As long as I'm raiding with the guys that I want to raid with, Flo, Chunk, Nolty, Jay, Go, fucking Table, Goldar, like, all just you know, raiding with the boys. I don't really care how difficult it is, actually.
I am 100% of the same. Like, I look back at Wrath, and it's actually something you've said, well, when we've talked about, like, kind of one of your video projects that you're doing. And, like, I've kind of gone and actually done a bit of a retrospective of that and actually looked at it myself and gone, well, actually, what has been the highlights of Wrath for me? And raiding Nax with, like, the Wipe Ink guys, like the OG Wipe Ink guys, we all just sat there doing fucking 1 hour raids, just talking shit and all that good stuff. That is probably the most enjoyable raid time I've had in Wrath. And it was the easiest it was the easiest raid by 100 miles.
Oh, and Zunder as well. I forgot Zunder. Sorry. But yeah, I agree. Like, Nax was fun. Just getting smashed. Like, again, it's what people want. Cata, for me, whilst I want the race to be fun, I want them to be challenging. That's not a breaking point for me. No one would ever hear me say, if Cata raids are not pre-nerf, I'm quitting. Like, fucking zero chance. Like, it just wouldn't happen. I don't care.
Yeah, it'd just be our raid less, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Compared to what I do otherwise.
Thinking about Nax in Wrath, you got me thinking about the Undying achievement. And like, Nax as a raid was really fun in Wrath, but what made it unfun was not getting the Undying achievement. We got it in in our guild GTKP. We didn't in our guild main run. Like, was it Immortal, Undying, whatever?
Immortal, the 25.
Was.
Immortal, yeah.
Yeah, Immortal. So, like, are those achievements in Cata?
No.
For tier 11? There's nothing like that. There were like Undying or anything. Like, no mount restrictions from getting certain achievements in there.
No. The meta achievements in Cata require you to have cleared full heroic,
and that's it. You just kill.
So you do full heroic, and then there's the meta achievements as well. Like, think Boned off Lord Marigold, that style of achievement.
Why did you go with Boned out of all of them?
I don't know. It's the one that came to my head. But yeah, so you like, it's not just like in ICC where most of them are just, you know, do kill the boss in a specific way. You also have to do the heroic version of the boss as well.
Yeah. So I mean, that's an interesting thought though, Jay, with the whole Nax thing. So like what would you say, like, Willie, you first, and Go, you can get a bit more thinking time. You know, so far in Wrath, what's like been the most enjoyable either phase or, you know, period of time or activity? You know, like what when you think back to Wrath when we're playing Cata, what's that one thing where you'd be like, man, I remember that. That was fucking awesome.
It's probably the first fight where there was actual progression, and it felt like a genuinely difficult boss fight week 1, and that was Yogg 0.
That's fair. Yeah, I remember our Yogg 0 first kill very well. Yeah,
we managed to get that down week 1 as well, so we're pretty happy with that. To be able to do that, there was a lot that went on in the fight. You did have to execute it really well in the last phase as well to get it down. And again, like, I really enjoy progression type raiding. And I think it's around 85 or something attempts. You know, it's not like there needs to be a huge number of attempts for us to kill the boss, but it just makes it feel a bit more rewarding than just going through every single boss and one-shotting them. Other than that, I have to say, like, again, Nax, right at the start, like, tier 7 itself isn't particularly good, but it just got carried so hard by the class reworks. So many classes in TBC were just so basic still. They really hadn't evolved in a meaningful way from vanilla for me. So many one-button specs. And I remember the first time I got the Wrath beta, I was on a hunter and I wanted to get some clips for a video, and I got off the bow around Valgard in Howling Fjord, and I just started running around and like randomly killing Vrykals for about an hour, and I was like, holy crap, this is so much better than TBC. It's like a completely different game. And that carried on into Nax and stuff. It just felt good to have an actual rotation that had some thought going into it, rather than just pressing a button.
Cool, and go. What was yours be? Meeting me. I know.
Meeting
not
Wrath.
meeting. No, not meeting me, but yeah, like me coming and joining the guild. It's got to be. We'll move on to mine. We'll move on to mine.
When you joined the guild and you got the first Algalon loot, like the first ring for casters, oh, I loved that week. I will never forget that week when I had been progging Algalon with the guild for the first 10 weeks and didn't get it down, and then you show up week 1 and you get the loot. I loved that week.
Yeah, but why did the loot drop though? Go. Let's be honest.
Because you were like DSAC 37.
Because I came in and done the stars and was like, I'll show you boys.
You dropped the target dummy and we got the 1 tank Algalon or something in 10 man. But
Yeah.
no, I liked I think we're gonna experience it again in Cata, but that first like 10 days gearing up and getting pre-raid bis was probably my favorite thing. And then there was little things like doing Memron hard mode for the first time after failing for 8 weeks in a row, getting that Algalon kill for the first time after 10 weeks. But like not knowing how long the phase was going to last, now that we know that the phases are only going to last 12, 16 weeks, like maximum, if it takes that long to down a boss, that's where I'm kind of like iffy on for Cata. Like I don't want to only have 3 to 4 weeks of clearing a boss on hard mode going into the next phase. But I think that's on me personally. And going into Cata, I'm like, if I'm gonna do the raids, it's gonna be fucking like sweaty as shit. If I go in there and people are failing mechanics week after week, I'm not gonna be in that raid group. Like I'm just gonna be like, sorry guys, good luck on your progression for the next 12 weeks. I hope you get this down. But I want to go either hard or soft. There's no middle ground. I'm fully in there or I'm just
You're thumbing in a softie.
Oh, don't so say fully in there.
But it did feel good to get those hard modes down after proccing on them. Like I concede to that. Like that whole aspect of the game feels really, really good. But it's a timeline issue. Is it supposed to take 4 weeks? Is it supposed to take 8, 12 weeks? Like how long is that progression supposed to last?
See, I'm torn between two for me. Like I'm torn between the raids being closed. So, you know, the first couple of weeks of launch where there's no raids, you're just doing as much as you can, farming Darkmoon card greatness, you know, getting as much gear as physically possible ready for when Nax opened. You know, like that was a lot of fun. But I mean, I've had so many good times in Wrath actually. Like mine are more not even like first time killing Lich King heroic, great. First like 10 and 25, first time killing Algalon, Yogg 0, like you know, all of that stuff's cool, but like when I've done it back in original WoW and on private servers, I don't feel like boss kills are really the things that stick out as being memorable for me anymore. You know, it's fun. It's like, cool. Like, you know, we deserve that. We wiped fucking 30, 40 times and the boss died. Cool. Like, yeah, that's nice. But mine's been some of like the casual 10-man raids, you know, proper meme runs where we're just taking anyone, we're getting shit-faced all the way through it. And, like, you know, just actually... it's as if people are actually in the raid to have fun, you know, like that for me, they'll always be the best times. Like recently, you know, like that 10-man ICC we done like what 2 weeks ago, or was it Yeah, it was before pre-patch, wasn't it? Oh, was it in pre-patch?
I think it was in the pre-patch. Maybe it was before.
I think it was just. It might. I think it was just before. I feel like
it could have been.
And we had like half a group that's never done it before. We had like a couple of people with like 5k gear score who have done it before. Like it was just the most scuffed group, and we 2-shot Lich King 10 heroic. Like that raid. I'll remember that raid forever. Yes, 30% buff, blah blah blah. But like I was saying on stream, we ain't killing this. Like no chance. There's no way we're killing this. Like we should just switch it to normal. And then everyone just done what they needed to do, even with like 0 experience, and the boss died. And I was like, I mean, that was cool. Like, that'll always stand out. When we're in MOP, I will remember that 10-man raid. And especially because, like, we was all just having a good time. There's no stress, was there? We was all just drinking and just raiding and, fun with the boys. They're my favourite raids. And I like the serious time. I like the times where you just all, like, take it serious and you get shit done. But for me, the pissed up Friday night runs will always be the best.
I kind of want to have both. If I have the option to, like, I want to have like a 10-man, like strictly serious. If you fuck up, like you're not getting rostered next week. Like you don't get loot from this week for one, and you're not fucking getting rostered next week. Like try again, like prove yourself, and then come back. And then I also want to have a tune where it's like, yeah, I can have a drink if I fail a mechanic. If I cause a wipe, nobody fucking cares. Loot is just main spec, off spec, whatever the fuck, like is just getting rolled out.
Yeah, no one cares.
If it's like, yeah, if it's like a loot council for the strict guild, then sure, like yeah, like put loot where it needs to go. Like it is what it is. Like I don't know where it's gonna feel better, but I want to like try both for Cata.
I have to say that's exactly what I'm hoping for out of Cata. Like I have, the 10, the group of 10 at the moment that I'm really looking forward to raiding with. Everyone seems to get on really well. We've all played together for a long time as well, but like obviously doing it on Classic. But I have other characters that like I know I'm going to be taking my Resto Chamois into GDKPs and definitely not pressing any other heal and healing rain and trying to DPS pass because I'm an asshole. I'm going to be taking an early into guild raids where I'm not going to care about whether I'm parsing 100s or, what loot drops because it is just going to be there, go there, have a drink and have a laugh. But I also have that like competitive, hardcore itch scratched, I guess.
But that's the good thing. We can get everything, can't we? You can get everything in Cata because it's like you can have, even if you only like 10-man, you can have a super serious 10-man. You can have a chilled out 10-man. You can do both. Or 25, like whatever. And the fact that like leveling is a lot quicker, it is like Cata's very alt friendly, especially when you think about like all the time investment going into archaeology. You can get, depending on whatever class or spec you are, you can have a couple of like 359 items straight away. Being a warrior, paladin, DK. Instantly, no matter you ding 85 and go boom. I got a massive weapon. Instantly, I got a massive weapon that I'm either going to go really hard with or really soft with.
Sometimes maybe hard, sometimes maybe soft.
You never know until you try. It could be one or the other.
Yeah. Anything else about pre-patch? I mean, you said this one was going to be a long one, but I mean, this is literally the last topic.
I was asking Jay in DMs earlier about Valor points. If we want to dive into like the Valor point cadence, because it's an accelerated.
Well, it should be 1250. It shouldn't be 1,000. It should be 1250.
1250. Okay, well that makes a little bit more sense because I was like, we're really going to be able to get Valor point cap just doing heroics?
No, Jay's like, right. It's 1,000, but it should be 1250.
Yeah,
on the beta, it's 1,000, but it should be 1250.
It felt weird to be able to do my weekly like heroics, like random dungeon finders, and get Valor point capped, and then not get any Valor point from the raids at that point. But like that said, if it's half of the time that it took in original Cata, like to go phase from phase, should that be adjusted somehow? The Valor points or no?
That's your choice though. It's your choice.
Back to the drinking stream. Yeah, that went right over Willie's head. But yeah, that was their go-to phrase. I don't know where they pulled it from, but
it's out of Afterlife.
Weekend.
Have you seen Afterlife, Willie? Ricky Gervais?
No.
Then you won't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I don't.
So, but it's your choice. Go, don't do it. In that, if you don't want to go and do your daily heroic every day, then show up to the raid and you'll get most of your valor cap. Like, I mean, that's completely your own decision. I like the fact that there's multiple ways. If I want to go really nerdy and I can just go and queue heroics straight off on a Tuesday, which is a weird reset day for me, so I'm always used to you. But like, if I can want to go straight in and just spam heroics, get my cap out of the way because I want to buy my tier piece or whatever, or I want to just take it chill, I'll just get it in the raid, whatever. There's no rush. I like the fact that that's a choice.
I just haven't seen, like, as far as how many items come from that, how many of those are going to be I guess they're not going to be our BIS because we're going to get better from heroic.
So the only
359.
The only absolute best that's going to come from tier pieces for most people, I'm going to say this as a general thing, like there might be some niche one where like someone's putting their glasses up to the rise and going, actually, sir, but is the tier pieces. So you will buy your chest, your gloves, and your legs from from Valor points that you'll need to have to upgrade to heroic.
And that might
or you can get them in
weeks.
Paradin Hold as well.
Yeah.
And
Say you low roll, you get no gear from Barrett and Hold. It's going to take about 6 weeks to get those 3 tier pieces, right? Because it's 2,200 for 2 of them, and then 1,650 for the third one. So that
that's right.
5 6 weeks. So that's half of the phase in order to get 3 of your tier pieces. I mean, you're probably only going for 4 set, but
yeah. So you'd only need 2 realistically.
Yeah.
So you could get your 4 set in a month.
So like if that's a third of the phase to get your 4 set, is that a proper cadence?
And that's without even being able to. That's without even upgrading them. Because let's face it, until you've actually got your tier, like you're not going to be giving like heroic tokens to people that haven't already got something to upgrade.
Yeah,
it's actually a fair point. It's something that I hadn't really considered, but yeah, like
wait.
It's the same in ICC.
Fair point.
Fair point. But the ICC loot system's always been shit as well, and then they kept along the same lines. Like the worst thing about re-rolling in like the ICC phase is how long without some luck from VOA that it takes to get your 4 set. Like there's no quick way. There's no skipping it. You have to literally farm your Emblems of Frost then.
Maybe you've got the Gamma dungeons or whatever the equivalent is. They could have something which could make it easier in some way.
I don't know. Actually, because tier 11 is looking like it's going to be, as it is at the moment, it's going to be our longest phase, from what I remember from the dates. Because Firelands and I believe Dragon Soul holds the same upgrade system with tier pieces. So you still have to buy 3 pieces or 2 pieces from Valor points. So, it's actually going to take a good chunk of the tier just to get your 4 set. Which,
all they need to do is
have
Alec here drop an essence on normal, so you can just pick any random normal piece to buy.
That is the way they fix it. You are actually 100% right.
Literally job done on it.
How do they do that in the next phases, though? Have Ragnaros or Deathwing drop a essence, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't remember the tier being as painful in Firelands, if I'm honest with you, but
it's the same thing because Major Domo drops the shoulders and Raggy drops helmet.
Yeah, but I don't remember. I don't think Heroic Rag drops an essence, does he?
No, that's what I'm saying. At the moment, he doesn't.
Yeah, so could just have an essence coming from Rag on normal and heroic. Yeah, it needs something. I mean, it's a fairly dated system anyway, in general, to be fair. Like, I don't think you should need to waste Valor points on a piece of gear that you're not actually going to use, just to upgrade it. You should be able to get a heroic token and just buy the heroic piece, but
that felt kind of weird because I just leveled up my troll, and then last night in ICC I was like, well, I got to spend justice points to get the lowest piece, and then I got to get a normal token to then upgrade it, and then I got to get the heroic token to upgrade that.
Yeah.
So
I just felt like my paladin. It's like I just get given tokens, and I go to the justice points vendor, and it's like spend 1,100 justice points, and I'm like, how about no?
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to save those and I don't know, do the first quest in the next zone and get something better.
But I think they go one of two ways with it, and I wouldn't be against them actually just doing both. So upping the Valor cap to 1250, which is something Scott said, but I agree with, and adding the essence. Scott, you got a lot of good takes.
Well, I'd remove the Valor cap, because the Valor cap, like, there's a natural cap. Like, the natural Valor cap is how many heroic bosses and the 7 heroic dungeons you can do a week. Like, that's the natural cap. Like, just remove it completely, and then you'd be able to get, I don't know, I could sit here and work it out, but you might be able to get 2.5k a week or something. But why does it need to be that artificial gating system when we're on accelerated cadence?
I guess there's another cap. That's you buy everything.
Yeah.
And then what? You want to buy stuff for your off spec? All right, go for it. I guess. Who cares?
So what? You can only get 1k or 1250 from heroics, and then
no, that's it. Full stop. Like, 1k per week.
Well, I mean, like, if you're saying like uncap it, like, then I would just spam heroics.
Well, no, because you can only get 7. You can only do 7 a week that give Valor.
So that's still capped, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, you'd be capped by the amount of bosses that you can kill plus your 7 heroics, wouldn't you? Like that would, if you never had a heroics. 1k cap, that would be the hard cap would be, well, I can't get any more because I've got no more bosses to kill and I've done my 7 heroics, Valor's super easy to get. You just got to do a lot of stuff to do it. Yeah, Bogdan, exactly. But you'll cap before you do even half of that stuff. That's the problem. It's like you'll be capped on a 1,000 Valor point cap. You're almost going to be capped just doing your 7 heroics.
Well, you would be losing 50 points because 7 times 150 is 1,050. So that's what felt weird on the beta. I was like, I'm only getting 100 for my last random heroic instead of 150 because the cap is 1,000.
That's why if it's 1250, you still need to go and do a couple of raid bosses as well.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
Was it 1250 on White Mane?
It doesn't matter how many random dungeon finders you can clear, Tig. It was 1250 on White Mane. 1250 is what it's meant to be. In a 4.4 state, it should be 1250. 1k was the original value.
But I like it if it was uncapped and I could get my 1050 from my 7 random heroics and my bosses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like,
it should be
give
uncapped.
me all that.
Yeah, because as I say, there still is a cap then. Like, it's not like, I'm not saying uncapped, you can get 20,000 a week. You're still capped by the amount of raid bosses you can kill a week and your 7 randoms. That's it. Boom. Which maybe they will do.
I like it.
But I mean, they 1,000 is like, there was a reason it got put to 1250. It takes 3 weeks. At 1,000 cap, it takes 3 weeks to get 1 tier piece that's not gloves. 3 full resets before you can get your tier legs. Obviously, that's ridiculous.
I'm going through now, and like the patches, patch by patch, from 4.3 to 4.3.3. I actually think it was 1,000.
No, it definitely got put up to 1250. 100%. You talk amongst yourselves, and I'll tell you
it doesn't
when
really
it went
matter
up.
right now, right? But.
Well, speaking of the tier gloves and legs, those drop from Baradin Hold, which is supposed to be tested this upcoming weekend. So if you want to test the PvP, I don't know if it's Tolbarad as well or if it's just the raid.
I actually think, isn't it just Tolbarad?
Is it just Tolbarad? It's not the raid? Oh, man.
I don't know. It's Tolbarad Battleground.
Okay, well, still.
Yeah. I'm glad I got
Alright.
to shut that down.
If you want to test,
I don't know about
Tolbarad,
these Wintergrass Tolbarad things for loot. I think the mop system where they had a world boss, you kill it and you might get an item you might not, was so much better.
Yeah,
it seems weird.
Tolbarad's
I
going to be
don't
such a
like
weird
it.
one as well.
It's like the
They
class
have-
runs, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
It
like
feels
the
it's
18 class run.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what actually happened with the Valor points? It's all kind of arse about face, actually. It was 1250. It started as 1250 and then got reduced to 980
When did it get reduced?
in 4.2, and then in 4.3 it got raised from 980 to 1000. So it actually so it started as 1250, didn't end on 1250.
Yeah, take 20 extra. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, so it was
Don't
it
spend
was
that 20 extra all in one place.
so it was 1250 from Cata launching until Firelands, and then obviously with I don't know, for whatever reason they decided to lower it to slow down the gear progression in Firelands, I'm assuming, to make it last longer. But yeah, it was, as I say, I remember even in tier 11 it being 1250, like 100%. But yeah, it went 1250, then 980, and then 1000. So technically, in a 4.4 state, 1000 is right.
But is that what we should get?
It's not what we should get. No, we should absolutely be on 1250. But yeah, 1250 because there being multiple raids, they reduce with the phases since they have fewer raid bosses. Yeah, Dino, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's like when there's less bosses, they want you to be able to cap just from boss kills. So they reduced it, but like, you know, in an increased cadence where you're not sat in the same raid for 6-7 months. Like, yeah, I mean, 1250 makes sense. Being able to, yeah, it's not really even about the capping. It's more about the time it will take to get one piece of gear. You know, literally, you can't get anything meaningful from that vendor for 3 weeks.
I wonder what the Gamma dungeons will be for, because it's like the stuff from Valor gets changed to Justice when a patch goes by, right?
Yeah, and all your Valor
Whereas
should
in-
get converted down as well, so you can't hold on to Valor.
Yeah, whereas in Wrath it was like completely new stuff, which had never been on the vendors before. I guess they could just do that again.
It's going to be weird because, like, ZA and ZG was our catch-up gear.
Was it catch-up gear, though? Because it was,
Yeah, it's
what,
353.
353.
Yeah,
so it was
not even
catch-up gear.
359. So how is it catch-up
Well, yeah,
gear?
because it's the same tier as the raid. So it's still tier 11. So it's 353 gets you into the raid at a better, like, eye level, and then you go and get guild, like, raid gear. So, like, it was catch-up gear for the first tier. Then you had Molten Front, which gives you, like, multiple 378 or something epics. Is it 378? The reputation ones?
Well, yeah. The rep in Firelands is 378, but the like cloak from doing the Molten Front's 365.
Yeah, but even still, like, you're going to be able to pick up, and then, like, the trinket and stuff as well is all 365. Like, you're going to be able to pick up multiple gear. Then you're going to have, like, the 3 Dragon Soul raids. Like, I don't actually know what they plan on doing with Gamma Dungeons, because I would say this expansion doesn't need them.
But that was my argument. That was what me and Go had. Me and Go argued about it, Willie, on a podcast where I was like, there's no need for it, because there's like there's not what your catch up gear is literally the last phase's gear, which you can then grind random 5-man heroics to be able to buy anyway.
Yeah, but maybe they could make tier a bit easier to get through that somehow. I'm not sure. Maybe you do a Gamma and it gives you a currency and you can convert that currency to Valor. I don't know if that's a bit too wordy or complicated.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm not sure, but they've said they wanted to bring the system back. Then again, they said they're going to update the auction house and we're all still using add-ons, so, you know, they...
Yeah, and they said they're going to have Heroic Plus, and still we've heard nothing about it. We know nothing what their plans are. But gear-wise, like, that was what I was saying earlier. That's when Go was saying about reducing item level and stuff. It's actually one expansion where the item level curve and how you gear throughout the expansion is, I'd go as far as saying perfect.
Yeah,
it seems very reasonable. Yeah.
Like if you walked into Dragon Soul with Bell, like heroic Bell from Archimedes, you're not griefing. Like that's a realistically good trinket. Yet, like there's very few pieces I could say that like I could walk into TOGC or ICC with from Nax that you wouldn't get laughed at the raid with.
Well, that's the only way they do gammas, isn't it? Really, yeah. Thinking, well, not Titan Room dungeons, whatever, is by adding raid gear. You know, the catch-up gear would literally be the best gear that you can get from the previous raid tier. Which, when you're going into Firelands and there's only 7 bosses, and you've now got no reason to go back and do any of that content, you like that was my whole problem with Titan Room dungeons before. Was like, well, now no one's. Why is anyone going to bother doing all to R10 hard mode when you and just do 5-mans and get the same gear? You know, I'd like them to not touch that shit. But...
We just did Old War last night.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we was doing that for fun. But, yeah. Well, we was doing it for the mount actually for people.
Yeah, yeah. So there's still a reason to go back and do older content.
No, but that's not on the like you can't get the mount from 5-mans.
Yeah, but I feel like even when Gammas came out, we still did like Vezax for Flare and other things like what's the Mjolnir? No, not Runestone.
Runestone,
yeah, Runestone. Like we still did the raids just for a laugh and a joke, and we pick up some gear along the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In the mountains.
So I don't think it completely killed doing the old content because you can just farm gammas because gammas are very monotonous and at least like a raid's some fun. But I just don't see what they can add to a gamma or a Titan rune, I should say, in Cata that isn't completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with McNulty that gammas kill pug in old raids. Like, I'd stand by that. Like, even though we go and do it, we go and do it for fun. But like, trying to find a pug to go and do any of it is like, I would have said borderline impossible on most servers. But like, forget that. We've had that argument so many times. I'm going to go for a piss and get a beer in a sec anyway. But the one thing I will say is that, like what you're saying, Jay, 100% agree. Like, I don't see any gap where you would fill that in when you can. I mean, maybe you could get the 2 pieces a tier, so you could get the head and shoulders from doing gammas. Like when tier 12 comes out, but outside of that, I don't know, don't see it.
I've been enjoying gammas. Like I have been looking for the raids, leveling up my fresh tune. I was going into the LFG tool, and there has been nothing posted on that at all. There might be like an ICC raid, but it's just somebody like looking for an ICC raid. So having that gamma option, I don't know if it removed people from posting, doing Old War at the end of the expansion, but having the gammas be spammable and I'm getting all this loot, I'm getting quick queues. The whole gamma system for me has felt really nice in the pre-patch.
So, I want to say, I agree with you. Like, I've done so many gammas of geared characters in there. It's been great to just be able to go and farm. Like, Caress is a perfect example, right? I was able to go and get 2 Caresses, which means that my enhancement chamois isn't just griefing by doing no damage. But, so I'm not saying don't add the gammas. Well, I'm going to say gammas instead of time rings. It's just easier on my brain. But, like, I'm not saying don't add them, but at the moment, I don't see a benefit of them. Like, I don't see what they can drop. So, like Nolty's saying, turn them into challenge modes. I would do that shit a lot. I would love that. I don't think they're going to do it. I think it's too much effort. But I don't see what gear they're going to drop.
Do you remember in the Wrath when the Northrend adventuring supplies, which nobody asked for, and then they ruined the alchemy market like instantly? Like, oh, great job. But I don't know. Maybe there's something along that line, or there's something else. Oh, there was emblems of heroism from questing. I guess that's something else. I thought that was okay, by the way.
Yeah, that was cool. I hope they don't do that whole fucking tank and healer bag bullshit again.
Adventuring supplies from questing and dungeons as well. If you queued to the tank or healer, you get a box, wouldn't you? Not DPS players. You're not special.
But for questing, it was the worst, wasn't it? Because like you're constantly battling bag space from opening fucking boxes full of shit that you don't even want.
Yeah, yeah, that was.
You just go round and trade people potions because you've just got too many.
I'm trying to think back why they did that now, and I'm really not sure why they did it.
I don't think they know why they did it. If we're being 100% honest.
Don't worry, it'll be added in Cata. They probably thought it was a good idea. They was like, "God, look at the metrics. Look how many people open these crates. They must have really enjoyed them."
I am looking forward to getting my Invincible from a Cataclysm Adventurers supplies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anything else? Go. I feel like we've covered everything that we need to cover. Unless anyone's got anything else.
Since nobody has agreed with my first 5 shit takes,
Oh,
then,
God,
I guess
not
I'm all out. I'm all out.
Oh, yeah.
No. I'm done. I'll try to think of some better ones for next week when we
go.
Yeah.
If you could make one change to Cataclysm, only you get to decide what this change is. Devs have reached out. What would it be? Initial thoughts.
One change to Cata. The Valor point thing. I think like that's what I've been hung up on is the 1K Valor point cap. I don't know how, but I haven't looked into how many pieces I need. I know I need 3 pieces of tier potentially if I don't get the gloves legs from the PvP event. If I wanted to do that, who knows how that's going to be implemented? Is it going to be the same as Wintergrasp, where everybody, as long as one person on your server wins Tolbarad, everybody has access to the raid? Like, nobody fucking knows. So, if there's 8 pieces on that vendor, and it's going to take me 4 months to get those 8 pieces, that's going to feel really bad when the phase is over, and it's like, well, I still haven't gotten all that loot from this vendor. So make it 1,500 Valor cap a week, something like that. 1K felt really weird on the beta. So that would be my change.
Stick with that. That was a good take.
Willie, what's yours? I like this, Jay.
Let's see, one change. Okay, everyone has to start in Vashir because it is an underappreciated zone. There you go.
As a druid, I agree.
I think Vashir is a cool zone, and if you have an ability which needs to be targeted on the floor, tough. Basically. No, I don't know. I don't have anything like super strong to say about it. I think it's pretty well-rounded overall.
I mean, another thing that felt kind of weird was...
oh, no.
No, I'm sorry. Everything feels weird. Professions having so many BOE loot options for the first phase, that was kind of strange. I'm like, okay, I get my like a chest and a belt option from leatherworking, and I don't have to be a leatherworker. Like, cool. If it was BOP, maybe that would change the whole profession meta. Like, what's your best profession? At this point, it doesn't really matter. But that's also a good thing too. It's like, oh yeah, you're not locked behind having to be an engineering tailor or engineering jewel crafter. So having this really strong BOE options from crafted gear early on feels kind of OP. Should it be changed? Maybe.
I'm with you. It is strange for him not to be buying, like, require the profession. I must admit, like, that is one thing that I've always found quite weird. Where it's like, well, as a boomy, you can get 2 pieces from leatherworking without being leatherworking, and then you can go engineering and get the head, and alchemy and get the trinket, and it's like you can start benefiting from so many different professions without actually having them. I'd agree. I'm not saying it's something that I would. If I could only change one thing, it wouldn't be that, but it is a strange one.
Because then it's like alchemy and jewel crafting have BOP options, so you have to be an alchemist to get this certain trinket. But then every other profession is just like, oh yeah, you can just give your shit away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Willie,
was
go.
going to say, imagine, right, with all the old zones, okay, post-shattering, there was chromie time, and you could change it back to the normal world. Where would some of the Cata complainers be then? Would they say, "Oh, I'll give it a go," actually, and you could only fly in the new zones?
No, it'd never get used, would it?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd just be probably no one turns it on anymore.
Well, yeah.
Like, oh, you don't like the new world? Okay, here's the old one. They'd be like, but the talents are bad. It's like, okay, then, right.
We'd all do it one time to test it for a video. That is the one thing we'd do. We'd run around and go, huh,
That works.
okay.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even get out of the starting
It would be the
zone.
same as ICC again.
My one change, Jay. If I could be, can it be wild? A wild change.
Yeah.
I would add the regen mage from Season of Discovery into Cataclysm.
Oh my god.
That's what I would do. That the only one thing I miss about Season of Discovery is being able to heal as a mage. Give me regen, mass regen. Yeah, that'd be it. I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna have 5 mages.
Mine seem a bit weird, actually. I would like to see like TBC and back raids be soloable. Like have like the retail mechanic where like 2 expansions back, the raids you just one shot everything. It's not for gold, not a tool for gold. It's just for transmogs shit. They're really not.
As a boomkin, I can, so I would hope everybody else can solo.
Which raids are you talking about?
Wait, BWL, I guess you need like 2 people to click.
That is vanilla.
Okay, you're talking about TBC?
Yeah, we're talking about like
maybe Mag, you need somebody to click a cube?
Talking about like if you're playing a rogue and you're like, I fancy getting a glaive.
Yeah, like
possible.
Yeah, like I love going and farming collections. Like my appearances tab on my EU retail account is almost full for Jammy. Like I love going and doing that stuff. So that for me would be like a massive change because I would spend so much time going and clearing like all the old raids and just to go and farm stuff.
Can I take mine back now you've said that? Because I've just thought of something better. I want
so mine, okay.
Forget regen mage. Fuck that. We got atonement priests. All right, well, McNulty, I'll go with you. We've got atonement priests. We don't need a regen mage.
We've got restonement shamans. What do you need atonement priests for?
We got them real fake ones as well, McNulty. I would have Karazhan forever. So it's Karazhan.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Karazhan. But every tier, it gets scaled up in damage, health, mechanics, everything. So from now until Classic closes, we can always go and do Karazhan. And it'll always be current content.
Except for the chess event. Fuck the chess event. Get it out of here.
Yeah, you can skip this chess event.
The chess event.
You can skip chess.
Yes. Perfect.
Chess was fine. You just went and got a drink or something.
Yeah, because I never
hop in a pawn and be like, all right, so someone else will figure this out.
That was my only option. Everybody else was like, oh, I got to be the king. I got to be the queen. I got to be the elemental. So I was always a pawn anyways. So yeah, leave it in. Let everybody else have their fun. I'll AFK and a pawn. I'll move it 2 steps forward and then AFK.
I do like the transmog thing for previous expansions, and they have the data for that as well. They've nerfed them all.
But it already exists. That already exists on retail. Like it's 2 expansions, I believe, where you can go in
the FA with the latest retail patch.
Oh, I might have to go and reinstall retail.
Jaina's been nerfed.
Oh, I'm definitely going and killing her again. She deserves it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like a for fun thing. As long as you I think when they do it, they tend to nerf the gold a bit because otherwise
which I'm okay with.
Bots doing it and stuff, which is again, that's fine. People are doing it to get their appearances and stuff, and if you didn't do TBC raiding and you're like, man, tier 5 looks great, then go farm it. Why not?
Well, I'm out of it. I'm out of everything. It's 10-3. I mean, I'm saying it's 10-3, like I'm going to go to bed. I'm definitely going to sit and drink beer and do archaeology for about another 4 hours yet, but still.
Yep. No, we've got less than 2 weeks until launch. Like just think about that for a second. Like we're right on the cusp of being able to level up to 85 and do the tier 11 raids. We've got one more testing of Tolbarad this weekend, and then more testing of the raids the following weekend right before launch. So that's the testing I was gonna try to hop on and get into the raids and see what the mechanics are and stuff like that. Because there was no shot that I was doing it this weekend. I had too much on my plate trying to level up my new tune, so I didn't get to test it at all. But I want to test it this second go around.
Yeah, we're planning. Well, I'm planning on. Well, I want to be trying to clear everything heroic in this next test.
Yeah,
Well,
we're gonna
if
have
you
to go
gotta-
hard next test.
Yeah.
If you got a spot for a Moomy,
I'm sorry, no boom is loud.
damn it, I was gonna say contact my buddy Lubes because he's a brilliant balance druid. But sorry, Lubes. Maybe I can get you in somewhere else.
Lubes can come.
Oh shit! Fuck.
The spot has suddenly opened.
Yeah, you didn't say it was for Lubes. We thought you meant you.
I'll let him know.
Cool. All right, go see us out.
All right, Mage, you're putting out loads of fucking like brilliant content. You've got all this beta testing that you've been putting out there. You've got opinion takes. You've got shaman content. Like, what else can people expect if they go over to youtube.com/@Mage something?
Nipples.
What Mage nipples.
No, they can
I might see
expect
if I can
nipples.
change it to that.
Someone's taken it.
Apparently dancing.
It's in the description. It's Mage1146.
Yeah, that wasn't an intentional thing. It's just what I got forced into. I've been recording all day today. I've got like 4 videos coming out in the next couple of days. I've still got the Bastion of Twilight beta testing to come out in the next few days. I am moving in like 20 days. So my life is a complete mess right now, but I'm trying to keep up with content during that. And the channel's kind of blown up recently, so yeah, loving it. So yeah, all good fun.
And Willie, everybody knows the homie Willie. You've been putting out the I don't remember the title. I'm so sorry.
Was it any good though?
Was it any
Yeah.
good for all the classes and stuff?
I finally finished those all up, and then I've got a few more things. It's just the pre-patch and the launch all come around so fast, and I've been just having too much fun digging up Azeroth for about 12 hours a day. So there's I'll put out content. Yep, sure.
Any plan on when you're coming back to streaming? Because you streamed on YouTube for a little bit. I don't know if you multi-streamed on Twitch at all.
Yeah, I did stream on both. It's probably on launch or on Season of Discovery, Phase 4 release as well. I'll do it a bit, but I've just been doing Archaeology, which hasn't particularly given me the urge to turn my stream on. Because I'm like, damn, I don't want to be entertainment. I need entertainment doing this.
And Scotty, you've been off for a couple of days. When can people expect you back to streaming? And
I just saw Zuleli say stream please in capital letters, and I'm kind of considering it, but they need to understand that if I do stream for a couple of hours, I'm going to ignore them and dig and drink. I'm the same as Willie. Like I've spent the entire... Well, I was actually rough the weekend. Like I fucking got struck down with man flu. But like fucking digging on stream, that is just so boring. It's boring for me. I don't want to put people through that. But because I've had a few beers and I want to carry on for a few hours, they might find me on kick.com/Scottejaye in about 10 minutes. I'll have a quick drink food first or something.
Ricky.
Yeah, beers are what make Archaeology passable for any period of time.
Where are you?
Go.
Whoa,
Where can they find
hold
you
on.
going hard or soft?
Oh, God damn it. Scottejaye is at 91.8k subs on YouTube. So any help to get him to that 100k push. I know he's been fist bumping it for the last like 50 videos that he's been putting out. So any likes, subscribes to Scotty.
Just unsubscribe. Go find someone better.
I gotta shout out the fucking homie Scotty because he helped me out to get from to my first 1K. I was at like 700. All of a sudden, I do a little video with Scotty and like the TBC pre-patch, and like I got to the 1K mark, got to my goal back then. So I don't do this often. I don't do the whole like, subscribe, all that bullshit. But Scott's so fucking close to that 100K, and he doesn't put that out in his videos. He does the like, subscribe at the end. Everybody does, but the 100K is like right on the cusp. Like the 20 days till launch. Like let's get the 100K.
It'll happen. You don't need to rush it. It'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Once I start making OnlyFans content, I can drive traffic from there to YouTube.
He said he would neck a bottle of Jaeger once he got that 100K, like a full bottle of Jaeger. So I want to see that.
You need to make 2 new boomies. One called Go Hard, GHO Hard, and Go Soft. They need to be your 2 new druids, by the way.
I'll rename my tune, like the one that's in the strict guild, like no fucking around, go hard, and then go soft. Like, we're fucking around, we're drinking, we're having fun. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I've been streaming on Twitch too. Like Twitch has been kind of a sweet little resort for me. I tried Kick didn't really work out, but Twitch has been really nice. Shout out to Twitch. So it's just classic
Twitch.
Go on either one. No.
Big up Twitch. Best company.
I've just got a picture of Twitch being like, peace.
Cheers, Go.
I'm really helping Twitch stay alive right now.
They're afloat.
Yeah. No, I'm shouting everybody out, dude. You guys got me all emotional right now. Denakina raided me the other night. It was a great stream. So yeah, find me on Twitch if you want to see some balanced druid stuff, because I might be PvPing a little bit on the pre-patch. There's not that much left to do, so I'm gonna be getting into those battlegrounds, destroying some motherfuckers on Eye of the Storm, typhooning those bitches off of the platform.
Hang on. You said there's not that much to do. How many solves have you done in Archaeology so far?
I don't have the weak aura, and I lost the macro, so I don't know. Like, if somebody gives me the macro, I'll figure out how many I have.
If Go Hard doesn't have an Archaeology staff, he ain't coming in any raid of mine. I'm telling you that for sure.
I wouldn't expect to get in the raid. Like, that's how serious I would expect the raid that I would be in to be. Like, there should be that requirement. You didn't get the Archaeology shit. RNG fucked you. Sorry, you don't get in the raid group.
There's a very
make him need the Tolvia caster ring. Just go all the way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason I'm playing an enhancement shaman. My benefit from Archaeology is a level 63 orc helmet.
Yeah. Thinking about it, you get literally nothing, don't you?
Yeah, nothing at all.
I wish I got nothing, but it'd be an easy life.
Cool. Well,
Right,
thanks. That was a very pleasant chat as always. Willie, thank you for coming on as always. Jay, thank you for coming on as always. See you probably on the other side. I reckon us four in particular get back together maybe a week or two after Cata launches and see what our thoughts are raid wise once that's happened.
I'm definitely down for that, but I might be on a boat.
All right. I mean, I'm confused. I didn't know what to say. I'm like, all right. I'm not quite sure why you're going to be on a boat, but...
All right, so I'm at 130 solves, and I'm only at 19 for Dwarf, and that's the one I do for the...
Yeah, you got a long way. You got a long way. You got loads to do before you worry about PvP, mate.
I'll get it by 25 for sure.
I'm going to be lucky if I get anything by the time Cata launches.
I heard the pain in Scott's voice.
I'll screenshot, put it in Discord when I have it before 25.
I'll be very angry, but happy at the same time. As long as other people are having some joy in Archaeology, I'm cool with that. Anyway, all right, we're going to go. I think, Jay, maybe if we can get Flo and Chunk to get on Goblins, we have. Let's have a couple of hours on Goblins, maybe.
I've got really bad news for you on that, but...
oh, what, you can't?
I mean, I'll come and hang out. Oh, yeah, no, I'll be there. I've leveled. I needed the character.
Well, what level are you?
Slots. 69.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we start our next ones. I don't know. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit. But right, guys in chat, thank you for all the super chats. It's still not too late. You can get some super chats in while we're going, because I don't know, why not? And we'll see you on probably Wednesday next week, because it won't be Saturday, because I've got Scottycon 2024 on Saturday, and Jay's going to be there. There's got a lot of the boys from the stream getting together, and we're just going to get absolutely hammered. If you want to see any of it or any of the aftermath, it will be on Kick. So, peace.
Yo, if Willie bounced and like showed up during ScottyCon, that would be some amazing photos that you guys could have. So,
hey, he's welcome. We're in Leicester on Saturday, Willie. Leicester on Saturday. You can appear, no problem. There'll even probably be a spare bed in one of the hotel rooms for you. You just got to turn up.
There's a spare room. Chebs isn't going now, is there?
Is he not going either now?
Chebs can't go now.
No.
But he's booked the room and it's non-refundable. There's a whole room spare.
Oh, we need to get that room filled.
But I don't even have to share. Is that what you're saying?
No, you literally have your own room.
So
top and toe.
You could share. We're happy to put you in with Zach, but